Wait for some people to join in here. I'm going to get myself loaded up on the laptop as well. Okay, we got one like button, but 0 people in here. I don't know how that works. Okay, we got one in here now. I guess if you click the like button before you sign on, that's how it goes, right? Got one like button, but 0 people in here. I don't know how that works. Okay, we got one in here now. I gotta switch it up, I guess. That's gonna be tough. I'd like to know how to rotate my display. Click the like button before you sign on. That's how it goes, right? It's gonna straighten up. Shibe's in the house. What's going on, Shibe? Savage Firewood is here as well. How you doing, guys? We got 7 people in here now. I started it off wrong, so I'm in portrait mode, I guess. I don't know how that works. Let me put this on mute. I just got the laptop behind me so that I could see the shout without the chat without struggling. James Bainton is here. Okay, good to go. How's everybody doing? Merry Christmas. Hope everybody had a nice Christmas, and New Year's coming up. I just got to do something about, you know what, let me unplug this. I got to do something about propping up this phone because it's just letting me run in portrait mode. And I can't see what I'm doing, or I can't hold the phone up and see what I'm doing on the laptop and everything here unless I have this thing propped up, because I have the charger in right now. Who else is in here? Raymond Thomas, greetings from Ajax. Merry Christmas to you too, sir. How you doing? Okay. So yeah, Christmas, had my little daughter around, and I got her a nice Barbie set. And she's very happy with that, plus a bottle of maple syrup. I've been sending her I've been giving her maple syrup since she was a baby, right? And you know, just a little droplet when she first started and when she was an infant. And some people would say, oh, well, how come you're giving your daughter maple syrup, right? You know, it's sugar, it's whatever, right? But your body runs on sugar, you know. You give a teardrop full, like, that's nothing, you know what I mean? But she was very happy with that. She likes her pancakes, but she didn't like Daddy's peanut butter pancakes. And she likes only, what's it called, chocolate chip pancakes, right? She doesn't even like blueberry either, right? Let's see, okay. Steve Gregg is in here. Thanks for coming in. I know you missed the last one because I tried to start on the laptop and then I switched over to the phone because the laptop was lagging. But then when I actually tried to shut off the live stream at that point, and unfortunately the chat kept going. So I had my phone sitting in front of me, so it looked like I was doing the whole chat on the laptop while I was doing on my phone. So I had 2 streams running at the time, but learning is learning, you know what I mean? Okay, Firewood is very hard work. Yes, it is. And it's been very hard on me. You know, I'm waiting for more people to kind of get in there, so I'll kind of touch on it and, you know, then get into it, right? I see Joe's Firewood videos is here. Thanks for Joe coming in. And first thing he says, he quitting Firewood. I'm in so much damn pain that I'm hoping that I don't get any orders. Yeah. I'm almost sold out of my wood this year. And I sold almost all my softwood too. I got to go deliver some tomorrow. A guy bought a face cord of hardwood from me before, like a month ago, and then he wants some more. So I told him I only got softwood, so I said I charge him less, and then I just go and throw him, you know, a bunch more, right? So he's getting more than a face cord, right? But yeah, after that I have like 5 crates or 5 IBC totes full of softwood. There's even some juniper in there. There's some willow. There might be some silver maple. Actually, I don't think so. I think I've gone through that. But juniper, spruce, pine, and willow, right? So I'm gonna get rid of, I guess, yeah, about 2 crates, maybe a little more. That'll be like well over a face cord for the guy, right? He's paying full. Actually, yeah, I'm not charging him cheaper. He's just paying what he paid last time. So I'm gonna give him $200 worth of softwood, or 210, I think it is. Yeah, and that includes delivery, right? So he's paying $160 for over a face cord, and he's gonna get quite a lot in there too. Like probably another, at least another third of a face cord along with his face cord, right? So I'm gonna make him happy. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're starting to get some people in here now. We got 15 people. So how was everybody's Christmas? I want to wish Merry Christmas out there to everybody. Time and the Buckeye is in the house. Thanks for stopping in. And any other people that I missed? I don't want to miss anybody. Sometimes I'm talking and I noticed I was missing the chats before. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it better this time, guys. I'm still getting used to the live stream. It's you're trying to talk and keep everybody entertained, and then there's this technical stuff that you got to deal with. And I'm actually running very simple right now, but I'm just getting smooth into it anyway. So about quitting Firewood. So there's a bit of a story to it, and it's not to say that I am quitting Firewood. It's not to say that if I quit Firewood that I'm quitting all Firewood altogether, every which way possible. It's not really that, but it's just the story of what's been happening over at the woodyard. And one incident happened the other night, so that's kind of metastasized into things where I wasn't even looking for certain things and they were coming up, right? So you guys know from one of my recent videos, they have the new city bylaw, in which means at 7 o'clock that we can't run the small engines here, right? So the watermelons are back at it again. They're environmental green on the inside, or sorry, on the outside, but they're red on the inside. You know what red color stands for, right? So okay, so I had the neighbor there. He's not supposed to live in there. Apparently he's like an army veteran, and he lives upstairs above one of the offices or one of the businesses there, right? Hey Daniel, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Daniel Atkins, one of my longest viewers on this channel, guys. So I got my this is the best Tim's cup I have this time. I like this one better than all of them, and I actually just got another Christmas mug too from my little daughter. You know what, let me grab that one. I'll show you guys. There's my rainbow, or sorry, my reindeer mug that I got from my little daughter. Yeah, she just turned 5 last month. So yeah, a little over a month ago. So anyway, so I was at the woodyard one night, and because it's cold, I don't get into splitting wood till late. Like I get there kind of late, and I just sit in my truck, and I need to get motivated to get out there to work in the cold. And once I get out, I'm fine, but it's just that's how I am, right? So I started firing up the chainsaw, and then this guy comes out, the guy who lives upstairs in the office. So I said he's an army veteran, and he lives up there, and it's not zoned for residential, or sorry, it's not zoned for residential, so he shouldn't be living there, right? So he's upset there because I'm running my machines there, and I'm getting a different story from my landlord, right? He says, "Oh no, it's not. He's okay with you doing all that stuff." And I said, "But he came out before and he was upset." And even the story back in the summer when the guy came out, he says, "Oh no, it wasn't him. It was some lady who lived in the house on the street, like across, right?" So in the summer they have the windows open. So it hasn't been a problem, but now this guy, he's come out before, and he's one of those people you just hear him squawking. Larry and Robin, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. Haven't seen much of you guys out there because Yeah, I've been busy too. I haven't been around much and editing much videos, but I'm just trying to pump some out before the year's end, and I'm backed up like 2.5 months. But a lot of you guys, I want to stop by your channels for a bit. You know what I mean? Bent Wedge Stanley Brand is here. How you doing, sir? Um, so, anyways, uh, running the splitter out there. I was running the chainsaw, and it's this guy's one of those people who he wasn't just trying to get my attention. It's like the guy was squawking, so I had the machine on. I had the hearing protection on. I couldn't hear him. He's up over across the lot, and the guy I could just hear him barking and barking and barking and barking. Right? It's like I'm running machines. Like just get my attention. Who are you talking to? Because I can't hear you. Right? So that happened about a month, not even a month, like 2 weeks ago, maybe less than that, right? So I start walking around, back around the totes to like the entrance of where my lot is, and then I couldn't see the guy. I thought he might be by the fence where he was last time, and then the guy was up on the building, and he has his phone, and he's got his phone taking a video of me, right? So he starts squawking about the noise and stuff, and saying, "Oh, you heard about the bylaw and everything and whatnot, right?" So it's like, yeah, well, he says, "Why do you have to split wood at night?" I said, "Because I have a day job, right?" So then he said, "Oh, well, you can't run the machines after 7." So he's trying to, I don't think he cares that much about the bylaw himself. I just think he cares about what he's doing there, because he said, "Oh, I've had people over for dinner and stuff, and I just closed the window and stuff. I've ignored you before, but now, because I guess he thinks it's a problem, he's just like, okay, well, I'm just going along with 7." Because I asked him, "Okay, well, what," he says, "the bylaw is at 7." I said, "Well, what time's good for you?" Right? So he he said, "Yeah, 7 o'clock." So okay, well, I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? And I was making a video at the time, so you'll see my frustration when it happened. And I actually had the camera rolling. I had the head camera on, so you might not be able to see him. And I was in the area where it's dark, away from the light, but you'll be able to hear him, right? So maybe I'll just put the audio in, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to hear the audio despite he was up there, because I was still kind of close to him, right? So, anyways, I go home after this. I just went and stacked some wood, did some things without the machinery, and I got home. So then I tried to look up the zoning on the city website for the area, right? So I found this map on the city website, and it had all these different colors for the zoning of different areas, but there was no color key that told you which color is which kind of zoning, right? So then I went and I looked over at my shop to see if it was the same thing and the same zoning, and it wasn't, right? Or it was, I can't remember, but it's like it didn't tell me what the zoning was actually for, right? But I mean, I'm gonna go with what the guy said, and said it's not zoned for residential, because that's what my landlord told me. He told me he's not supposed to be living there, right? And I'm not the type of person who, wants to be at war with this guy and, try and have him booted out, right? So I can do my thing. That would be very advantageous to me, but it wouldn't be advantageous to him, right? So that was an issue. And but anyway, so I looked at where my shop is, and I looked up the zoning there. And then I said, okay, let me just look up the address of my wood yard, right? And see if it says zoning for my address, right? To my surprise, I see that the zoning, or sorry, the property where I'm at, there's the article that I saw, the website, it was for Len Swan. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in, man. The website that I saw was a real estate agency, and the property is for sale. So now I'm thinking, okay, my time is limited here, right? So what do I do now? So okay, so that's kind of the story of like why it's coming to this. So it just all of a sudden it hit me that this guy, he might be selling the property. So I got to start reassessing everything here. So I said to myself, well, you know what? I've been having some back pains, and I'm okay now, but I'm kind of feeling it here or there, and my leg is a little bit messed up because there was a time where I got ran over by my own truck, and I went to the doctor about it, a couple of years ago. This happened a long time ago, right? But I brushed it off because it wasn't that bad. I was limping for a few days, and if anybody doesn't know that story, so I went to chalk my wheel to get under the truck and pop the shift linkage in, because the shift linkage would pop out of place. It's like a shoulder joint, right? You just go in, you reach under there, pop it back in, but you have to move it out of park to pop it into place, right? So I went and I chocked the wheel. I had some weight in the truck, and this is just, I don't think I bought the dually yet, but I think I only had the tailgate. I went out of town and I bought a tailgate, and I said, I'm buying a truck and I'm buying a tailgate, right? If the truck doesn't have the tailgate, I'm putting it on the truck, right? And I'm looking for a truck with a dump. So usually you don't see dump trucks with a tailgate, right? Let's see, like it's one of those landscaping trucks with the very short sides. They're made for like heavy weight, so they don't have the big walls. And I added the extra walls in the truck myself. But anyways, I knew I needed a tailgate, so I went and I bought a tailgate. And I did have the truck at that time, because I was just waiting for a moment to put the tailgate on the truck, right? So I just left it in there and I was doing some scrap. I had like a pickup, 93 diesel, 6.5, same thing as the other one, two-wheel drive, extended cab, long box. So I get under the truck to chock the wheel and pop the shift linkage back into place. And with the 1,000 pounds that was in the truck, and the truck's like 6,000, I was on a hill, and this thing I put under there to chock it didn't hold. So the truck ended up rolling over my legs, right? So I was under the truck so I could reach my arms there. So the tire ran into my hip, and then it kind of twisted me over. It rolled me over just below my hip, like right at the top of my femur. And the truck rolled right over me, right? There was nothing I could do. It took a bit to go and to roll me over. It wasn't just an instant thing. And yeah, the truck just went rolling. But of course, I just had this instinct that the truck's gonna maybe go down the road and crash into somebody's house or something, right? Because it was like a curve there too, on the curb, and it was in front of somebody's house. I was just picking up scrap in the morning. I was driving around looking for some, so that I could get to the scrap yard in by 11:30, right? So I wasn't far from the yard. I was almost done. I didn't have much time, so I was almost out of there. So the truck's rolling, so my instinct was just to get up and chase the truck. So after I got rolled over by the truck, I just jumped up and went and stopped it. But of course, I couldn't put it into gear now, because I didn't even end up popping the linkage into place, right? So it was hard to stop, because I had to like kind of maneuver the truck with the brakes over to the curb and try and pin the wheel in the curb. You know what I mean? So I had an injury from that, and I've got like arthritis in there or whatever, right? So mild arthritis, and it's going to be getting worse over time. But my recent back injury seems like a more like chronic thing. It's not something where I just have pain. It's like if I stress it a bit, I'll do something. But otherwise, like I'm still good. I'm still functional, everything, right? My hip joint, it's fine, but I can feel it at times. It's not even giving me pain, but I know something's up there. You know what I mean? If I stand but I twist my body and don't move my feet, I'll feel it a little bit, certain things that I do, so I'm not in pain. I'm not unable to do things right now. Hey Ian, how you doing? Ian's a good friend of mine since high school. And Tim Stout is in here too. Thanks, Tim, for coming in. And I mentioned you in one of my last videos about how you gave me the ideas to fight the COVID, right, with the green tea and the vitamin D. Anyway, so I've got these injuries that I got to contend with, and I'm not going to be able to be doing this forever. I am slowing down. I am a machine, but it's like, I'm 45, right? So I'm not getting any younger. And so I'm just weighing all kinds of things together with this whole Firewood situation. And I'm going to tell you, after that, I'm going to get into my outlook and like what things will be like. If I stay in the business, I'll still be in the business basically, but I'll get into it after, right? So let's just go through the motions first, of all the factors that are in here. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe if I have to move. So it happened when was this that I learned? This was about, I don't know, December 16th or something, right? So Larry Cluck Outdoors is in the house. How you doing? From Minnesota. How's the weather out there? Usually you're the coldest up there, right? Because you're north of like a lot of people here. You're up, I wouldn't say near the border, but you're a good ways into Minnesota and in the north side of the state. Anyways, so where was I? About, well, moving. Okay, about moving out and quitting the business. So now I was thinking, okay, if it's the middle of December, um, if I try and sell everything now, and basically the yard's empty, it's almost empty. I don't have much wood for next year to begin with. Continuing on, I would just split wood and throw it loose in the crate so it can dry pretty good. I find a lot of wood still gets dry for the next season if you just throw it in the IBC totes loose, right? So I could do that now to continue on. But let's say I wanted to just sell out and um, leave the business. Okay, well, all my IBC totes are empty. I believe it's 6 crates full with wood right now, and I do have about over 3 cords on the ground in the back beside my container. And what I started doing was the first rows of IBC totes, I moved them closer to that so that the wood could stack in between the totes in my container, right? So I put 2 totes there, and I haven't finished those last 2 rows, so it'd be um, 9 totes in a row, right? And then the next level is 9 totes, and then the next 9, right? So I haven't started filling in the third section, and it's almost done, so I could fill that in, and there'll be about 4 cords there. So I don't have much wood that's there, and if I just sold everything right now, freaking Jeep is in the house. How you doing? Iron Oak Sawmill is in the house. Merry Christmas, you guys. Hope you had a great Christmas, and looking forward to a new year as well. So I don't have much wood to sell. Now, if I sold it now, let's say I'd have to throw it for, green, right? Let's say somebody wants to come and buy the business. It's not like I did all this work and I have all this wood and I got to sell it now. And I got to sell so much of that stuff for cheaper, right? Obviously, I have to sell the wood for that it's in the green state, right? So I don't have too much. So if you, when you want to, get rid of all your inventory and you want to move out of a place, like it's best to have as little stuff as possible. So if I don't have much wood right now, it'd be a good time to move. And I could sell the IBC totes. I could sell that would kind of mean I have to sell the Beast guys, because I'd have nowhere to put it. I can't really put it in the shop. It takes some muscle or more than muscle to get it in there. And I was thinking, because I have 2 Spico splitters. I've only been keeping one at the yard, and the other one has a leak. So I have to go get that one fixed. But I've been keeping that there just in case I have to get on the road and split wood for somebody. Say I have to go to the west. I don't have to go from my shop to the east to get the splitter, and then to go further west than the shop, right? So I'm keeping that there for now. So what I would do ideally is sell the Beast. I would sell one of the Spicos, and then I keep a splitter at the shop. And well, like I said, I'm not totally getting out of every single thing if I choose to, cut back on what I'm doing basically, right? So I would still need a splitter. I still have a wood stove there at my shop, right? So anyway, so if I want to get out of it now, it's like, okay, well, the month is paid off, and if I could sell everything within the next 6 weeks, then I'd be out of there, right? And it's not only that I have, I don't have the inventory there, and I'd have to move it out, right? Um, Also in the winter, I'm not going to be splitting much wood, guys. So um, I wouldn't be able to. Let me see. How could I say it? Yeah, like basically, I would be using my other money to pay for the wood yard during the winter, right? This year, it's like my wood sales, they should be carrying me through the winter and being winter money, but it's been so slow here, guys, that like it's just dead here. So it's like I've been using my firewood money to like pay my bills and stuff, you know what I mean? And that's supposed to be the surplus. So that's why I'm thinking about getting out of the business, and why. Yeah, it is difficult. I can't even split in the winter because my fingers will just get cold. You know what I mean? And that's a problem. You have, even if you have the wood is covered in snow and stuff like that, right? It's, you start working with it, and you're melting the snow with your gloves because of the heat coming off your gloves, and then your gloves get soaked, and then even to work like that, and you have a few sets of gloves there, you got to keep cycling through by drying them in your vehicle on the heater and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I can't really do anything in the winter, you know. So I just be 32 people in here, guys. Holy, this is like I think this is the most I've ever seen in here, right? But anyways, so if I get out now, then I wouldn't have to be paying and doing nothing or paying for not splitting any wood over the next like 3 months, right? So it's a great time to do that for then, you know. Um, Now let's get into why I wouldn't be totally out of the business, right? So I still need wood for my wood stove. So I'm always going to need wood. I'm always going to need wood for when I go up north. And I like firewood, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to consume it myself, right? Even at home, I use a chunk of wood on my barbecue to get smoke flavor, right? So yeah, thank you, John. Everybody hit the thumbs up button. Frickin' Jeep, that's John out there. Thank you. So yeah, so I use a chunk of either apple, sugar maple, or hickory at home on my barbecue. And I've done some videos early on the channel about how I use it. So I just put a chunk under the grill on the heat, get it flaming, and then take it out, blow out the flame, and then just put it on top of the grill now, and I just let it smolder, right? I have like say medium heat with one side of the barbecue is cooking everything, then I have low heat on the other side, and that low heat it just keeps the chunk of wood smoking, right? So you get a lot of flavor as much as you know you're only cooking on the barbecue for 20 or 25 minutes, and you know you're using one piece of wood to smoke to get the smoke flavor. You still get a lot of flavor out of it, right? So I still use wood for myself at home. So for 3 reasons, I actually still use wood at home when I go up north and have fires, and then even downtown here. You could call both of those having fires, you know, whether I'm up north or downtown, right? But same thing, right? Um, there's like some waterfront parks and stuff. You can go there and you can have fires and stuff like that, right? And I haven't even had a fire in the wood yard yet. I have the burn barrel going, but I haven't had like some friends over and had an actual fire, you know. So I still need wood, but in terms of selling firewood, I would still sell smoker wood, right? So smoker wood, and this is the problem with business lately, is I haven't been selling the smoker wood, and that's a big problem because that's like double my money, you know. And I'd sell like maybe I don't know, I'd sell like maybe 400 or 500 bags of smoker wood, you know. Let's say, yeah, I'm not sure how many. I never really count. I'm not that person to go and count every single thing. You know, I just know I produce it and I make sure I have some and I sell it, and you know the like it's available. That's the best I can do, right? Uncle V's in here, big fan, and living in Nova Scotia, having a hard time getting a good um, source of firewood now. I just process it myself, learn lots from you, and think one day I'll sell my own firewood. Thanks a lot, man. And Backyard Firewood sent a super chat. Thank you very much. Better Glove Fund. Yes, I heard Joe at Ohio Woodburner. He buys gloves from Amazon, and they're called Atlas, and you get like I don't know, it's like a 2 dozen pack or something like that for like $100. I was looking them up the other day, right? Um, there's another super chat. Outdoors with Larry and Robin. Hey Larry, we didn't even talk about any boating this year. Did you get out? Let me know. I didn't get out much at all, and one trip was so-so. One trip was kind of okay. I go for smallmouth bass, and I only get out like 2 times a year, guys, for like 3 days. And you know, I make it like 3.5 by trying to leave on Friday morning and get to the lake so I can throw the boat in the water for the afternoon on the long weekend, the Friday afternoon, instead of leaving at like 8, 9 o'clock at night on Friday and then getting there at like 12 o'clock at night. And then I might launch the boat at night, but you know, having to take all the stuff up the hill, go in the cabin and get everything set up, you know, it's a lot. So I don't want to do that on a Saturday. So I've been trying to go even if I could go the day before, right? But a lot of times I can't go the day before too because I have work to do and I have to get the boat ready and I have to go grocery shopping, and I even prep food before I go, guys. I don't just bring hot dogs and hamburgers, you know what I mean? Like I'll make like a batch of tuna and I'll season all my meat. I'll have a pack of chicken wings. I'll have a steak seasoning, right? And you know, I make sure I have all these things so that I can cook big meals because when I go up there, I'm hungry. I don't eat much when I'm in the city, but when I go up there, I guess off my game, and I need to eat, man. There's so many times to go fishing, and I eat a big breakfast, and we get on the road, and we get up there, and we get in the boat, and it's like, okay, I want to get in a groove now, and it's like, okay, I'm starving. Like I've thrown like two casts. It's like, it might be 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's like I'm starving. You know what I mean? So I always make sure I have a lot of food out there. I pack stuff in my I do a big breakfast. I do a lunch to take out there, and I go out all day. And I come back in the afternoon, have dinner, and I might go out for the evening bite. Right? Iron and Oak Sawmill with the bomb super chat. Happy New Year and the glove fund. Thank you very much. You know what? I'll split outside if the gloves work. I will split outside, guys. Like I said, it's very hard for me to. Oh, you got the boat out or you got the boat out twice, Larry. Nice. What'd you catch? Any fishing? How was it? And tell me what body of water that you go on too. And Larry lives if Ian's still in here, our friend Sam, Larry lives like, is it 50 miles away at most? It's either 30, I think it's 30 miles. It's not more than 50 miles, or am I mixing up kilometers and miles? Because if it's 30 miles, then it'd be 50 kilometers. But I think it's about 30 miles south of where Sam lives, right? So of course, if I ever go visit Sam out there, then I'll go visit Larry Hoddle too. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, with going up to the lake, I don't get to use my boat much, and I try to get out of town and give myself that extra time, right? And I haven't even been able to rent a cottage for a week now because it's like $3,000 for a week, and that's, I guess you could call that $2,300, $2,400 US per week for a cottage up here, guys. Like a cottage on the waterfront, 3 bedroom, right? Like waterfront access, not a ritzy place or anything like that. Just a normal, basic, not rustic, not like decrepit or anything like that, but just a regular 3 bedroom, not new, not old cottage is going to cost you 2,400 US per month, right? And okay, Kerr Lake. I think you mentioned that before. I think I've heard of that name. 100 degrees and caught some catfish. Yeah, next year. Yeah, Ian, let's do it. Let's rent a cottage next year, man. And let's go to Chandos Lake because that lake is beautiful. The other lake where I go, I'm not going to tell the people on the internet the lake where I go. That lake is, I mean, all these cottage lakes are nice, right? But the lake where I go for bass, it's not the best looking lake, right? He gets some nice views there and everything, and I like how it's rocky and it's deep and all those things, and you have some of the cottages tucked into the rocks and everything. It's my kind of lake, but it's not the best looking lake overall, right? It's got the little rock islands, the odd one here and there. Yeah, it's right up my alley in a sense, but it's not the most beautiful. But actually, it's our friend who used to have a cottage up there. And I guess Ian, you never did go up there, did you? Did you come up there anytime? I don't think so. But his cottage was so nice, man. It's like an A-frame cottage, and he had this little sand beach in front of him, and he had a little island, like a strip in front of him, and it blocked off the main lake from his um, or his viewpoint. You couldn't see the main lake there, but if you just walked to the water's edge, where that island was, you just see the main lake over to the right, and then you had this nice shallow bay to the left, and the moon and the sun would rise there, right? So we had some good times up there. So Ian, let's rent a cottage up there, man. It's a little ritzy up there too, so I don't know what it's going to be like finding, but you know what? If we rent it, we have to rent that thing now because it's if you call in January, February for a cottage, you might not even get one, right? That's how the market is here, guys. You want to rent a cottage in July or August, you've got to rent it like now. And I haven't even tried to rent one since like, the 2020 season, right? But it's just, it must be more ridiculous now because everybody just started exiting up north or exodusing and going up north because of what was going on here, right? It's like cottage country's hand in hand here. Like maybe a lot of people don't know that life here, but a lot of people do. So when everybody had to stay home and everything, they're like, yeah, forget it, I'm going to my cottage, right? Or they're like, okay, I'm gonna rent a cottage. You know what I mean? You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You can't enter stores. You can't go, see a movie. You can't do this. So certain times you couldn't even go to the park, right? So people are like, okay, well, I'll just go up north. I'll rent a cottage and I'll go up there, or I have a cottage and I'll go up there and I'll just stay up there, right? Some people are lucky enough to be working from home too, right? So it was like this huge exodus up there. You know what I mean? Let me go back to the chat here. Of course, time and saying go Bucks. I don't know much about sports, guys, but yeah, I see Ian says he's never been up there. Yeah, we had some good times. Imagine one of your friends and all the my friend with the cottage. He used to go to school with Ian and I, right? And it's like just imagine you buy a cottage, a lakefront cottage, when you're like 21 years old. It's like party every long weekend. 30 people up there, boats, jet skis, ATVs, dirt bikes, you name it, guys. It was a lot of fun, man. It was very hard to sleep, right? Because you couldn't sleep in the house during the day. Everybody's walking in and out. You could just be on the couch unless you're one of those people who just pass out and block out the world, right? But I'd have to like sleep in my truck. Back then, my Forerunner, I could lay down the seats and put a cushion in there, and I could sleep in there. That was okay, but it wasn't the best. You know what I mean? Oh, the Bucks. Okay. Yeah, basketball. Okay, yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks. I do know a little bit about basketball from back in the days, guys. I used to watch basketball back then, right? Sorry, I was confusing Bucks and Buckeyes, right? Yeah, the Ohio Buckeyes, right? Is that how it goes? I still hear some things. Maybe I don't know what's going on, but I still hear stuff, right? Some people you say you don't watch TV. How do you know about this show or that show? Well, I live in a world where TVs are on, right? It's not because I don't watch TVs mean I've never seen somebody with a TV on in my life. You know what I mean? But who's in here? I saw somebody else new is in here. Todd's outside again is here. Hello. And to anybody I've missed saying Merry Christmas to, I hope you had a Merry Christmas too. That includes you, Todd, coming in. And this I like this time of year because this is when people get together. And I'm a very social person. Some people don't like crowds. Some people don't like getting together with people and this and that, right? But I'm a social person. I like to see when people get together. I like to see when I have one friend start talking and connecting with another one of my friends, or even if you have one friend who they already know this friend, it's just you find out the two of them already know each other and stuff like that, right? Um, there's a lot of people that are in certain circles here I know so many people here because I used to get out and get around, you know what I mean? Um, where was I? Um, I forgot. Somebody remind me what I was saying. You and me both, Anthony. Iron and Oak Sawmill says, no TV either. Nothing worth watching. You know what? When I stopped watching TV, it was back in the day when it's probably like my early 20s, maybe even like around 20, because like first, okay, you just had all those channels that were like 1 to like 20 or one channel 1 to like 25 or whatever, right? Or channel 2 to like 24 or something. So then they came with these special channels like Discovery and what else? TLC and these ones. That was like the heyday of like these new channels and stuff, right? And there was a lot of informative stuff. Like you go on them and you see surgeries and everything, right? So TLC, they don't call it the Learning Channel anymore. Everything, all these companies or whatever organizations that have like a full name, they just use the what is it when you just use the three letters instead of the full phrase? I can't remember what that's called or whatever, right? But it's like we have the Royal Bank here, so now it's RBM, Royal Bank of Montreal, right? So TLC, so and I think that's good for TLC because it's not actually the Learning Channel anymore, right? I used to go on there and see surgeries. There was like pregnancies on there and everything. Not stuff that I really wanted to watch, right? I'm not into that field, but there was so much informative stuff that you could go on there and you could learn. The Discovery Channel too, because that's how my mind works. I like to see the information. I like to see the history. I like to see the science, the technology. Just anything that's in that realm of like documentaries and things like that, right? So I was never into the sitcoms and this and that. There was some, of course, popular shows that, I used to watch that everybody used to watch kind of thing. But as a kid growing up, like every kid watches TV. But when I lost it, it was when like these Discovery and TLC, the programming started to become like not good anymore. It wasn't educational anymore. Now, if you look at Discovery and TLC, it's all reality shows, right? And it's like, I remember looking on, having access to a TV once, and you go and you scroll through all the programs that they have on the entire channel, and it's like, so one of these is informational out of any, like, or out of all, like the 37 options, only one of these TV programs is like informational, right? So forget that, man. Chuck says, Chuck at Iron and Oak Sawmill. Oh, by the way, I did I put your sticker on my splitter in one of my last videos, the one where I got COVID, because I got COVID in Niagara. So I came back and I had it at the time, and I went and put your sticker on my splitter. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's just a quick one. I didn't do much because I was still sick, right? But I did come to the wood yard wanting to deliver some wood, but I never did, right? I just messed around with a couple things and put your sticker on the splitter, and then I just went home after that, right? Yeah, after 9/11, I realized it was all for money, and it's even more than money, man. It's everything's psychological, guys. Even been going on lately, it's more than money. It's more than power. It's a lot of psychology going on up here. If you're not aware of like what's psychology and psychiatry is, it's like I've only dabbled into it because it's just I've learned a lot of things about like what's going on in the world and stuff like that, right? And it's like I think a lot of people tend to think with psychiatry and psychology is like, okay, well, either you're crazy or you're normal, and there's so much in between, and there's so many people that have you know trauma, whether it's small or big, it's there, and it influences your behavior. And what I find that is what's going on today is, or what's been going on for a long time, is making people like act like as if they have personality disorders, right? And to make people, or to make more people have personality disorders than they already did before, right? So it's yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate that. Chuck says, glad you are doing better. Yeah, the COVID was pretty easy, right? But it's the psychology is to have people thinking short-sighted, to have people not really going over the dynamics of things, not looking at the variables, to get upset and to be influenced by your feelings easily, fight or flight response. So instead of sitting there and debating a topic and saying, okay, well, listen, I know you and me could disagree, but let's sit down and have a beer, proverbially or realistically or literally, like have a beer, sit down, talk about it, go through all the pros, all the cons, all the reasons why you're right and the reasons why you're wrong, and all the reasons why I'm wrong and all the reasons why I'm right. And people can't talk about it, right? So they just get upset and they run away and they hide from things and they deny it. That's another thing the human mind likes to do. It's like we all don't want to go to work tomorrow, right? We might like our job and we want to go to work for that reason. But hey, wouldn't we like to stay home all the time, right? But what we know is that we have to actually go out and do stuff, right? So your whole life is living in a paradox where you don't want to do anything. You don't want to be responsible. You don't want to wake up in the morning. You don't want to do all these things. But you might have qualities that make you want to do those things anyway. But I'm just saying, it's just so many times you say to yourself, well, I don't want to go to work, but you do, right? Or you want to take vacations off. You want to, instead of working, you want to go on these other ventures that you have to do, right? And maybe you can do that. Maybe you can quit your job and do things like that, right? But it's like, at the same time that you have to do certain things that you don't want to do, and you can't do the things that you want to do all the time. So it's just people are being treated or being trained to be impulsive, right? And to just, they accept it all, or they just give up and they run away. There's no variables. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to associate with it. They don't want to think about it. It's just very short-sighted, like, kind of thinking, you know what I mean? So it's interesting, to know about that stuff. Then you understand, like, how the consumer market works and everything, and manipulation of people, and telling them what their life is supposed to be and what life is, and the kind of things you need to do, the kind of things you need to buy to make yourself feel fulfilled. But this is what I say to all that. Where's the fulfillment? Where's the financial prosperity? Where's the calmness? Where's the togetherness of people? All those things are dying because people are you know so impulsive about things, and we're doing all these things different, and we're saying we need to do all these things different, but it's like, do things look better? Is the outlook better? Are the results that we're in a better place, social, economic, spiritual, relationship, marriage wise, all those things? It's like, are we doing better now, and are we getting better? Education wise, you know what I mean? Self-employment wise, right? Employment wise, is everything getting better? Is everything getting worse? And that's a simple thing to talk about, or that's a simple way to look at, like, okay, well, we got to do all these things in the world. This is how it is, and this is how it's got to be, and we got to get rid of the old stuff. We got to do all this new stuff, and we got to change everything now. But what's the results, people? If I ask you, is the dollar value going to get better or worse? What's the answer, right? Are people going to be getting married more and having more children, or is it the opposite, right? It's all very simple, you know what I mean? But I guess you guys are getting a piece of my philosophical side, right? Somebody said about my mug, yeah, Savage Firewood. Yeah, see, Savage Firewood is from Ontario here, so he knows about the Tim Hortons addiction that we have here, right? There's like a Tim Hortons on every street corner, and the lineup is out the yin yang every morning at the drive-through. It's a total zoo. It's like what's it called? And then people get angry, so it's like the Kilimanjaro, like by the river, and there's the crocodiles and the alligators and the gnu's and the hyenas and the gazelles and everything, right? There's people beeping their horn and trying to get into the drive-through, and some people taking forever, so everybody's pissed in the drive-through. And then the people going in the drive-through are blocking the people who are just trying to shift through the parking lot. What a bad scene. The coffee's like cold, but it's almost done, so I'll finish it. What I missed in the chats here, I've been missing some people saying stuff, right? Like I said, I got to pay attention to what people are saying here. It's not just for everybody else. I know you guys all know each other, and you're all talking to each other too, but I got to be involved too, right? Yeah, Daniel Atkins says, no TV for me either. Too much junk. It really is, guys. Like, I was never into the mainstream TV like that. I kind of was on stuff, and yeah, stuff was funny or was interesting to watch. But Chuck knows about the Iron and Oak Sawmill. Chuck, he knows about the Tim Hortons coffee. Yeah, it's really good. I buy the can for it home too, right? Um, but yeah, the TV programming, it's just, I have always wanted the educational stuff, and it's I'm sorry to say, it's just degenerated, man. I would defend it if I could, but it's just really bad now. But what I find with a lot of the programming, whether it's the movies or the TVs, guys, is a lot of stuff. I haven't really seen anything in the last like few years, but it's just this whole period where all these TV shows just had these super controversial things, just to make people like, oh well, they published that on TV, and then that's what made people have to watch it. They didn't have to make it so extreme. The kind of things they were doing, it wasn't so much that it was things that were about the plot either, right? It was, they just threw these shocking things in there, or these what's the word, morbid scenes in there, right? Just to get people to watch them. And it's like, how can you watch this stuff? This stuff is disgusting. This stuff is disturbing. The kind of things they're showing. So not only did the program become degenerate or the programming become degenerate with the reality shows and stuff like that, right? And those were like the heydays of the reality days, were like the early 2000s. And but yeah, then I started noticing these things put um, all these horrible things in their productions, and they're losing. Um, it's like the talent's always there, but it's just the kind of stuff you're producing. It's just garbage. You know what I mean? I will always say that even with the music, it's like they say the music, it's not original anymore. People are just recycling music, right? I'm not saying the talent's gone. It's just nobody's coming up with anything. You know what I mean? We got some more people in here. Yeah, Len Swan says I spend more time on YouTube. I've been YouTube since like I don't know if it's 2008, guys. Is it way back since then? Krubby the Beagle is in here. Hello, how you doing? And John Bob Millwright, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Merry Christmas, you guys. We have a TV, but do not have cable or a dish or even an antenna. Yeah, guys, I download my stuff and I don't really watch anything, right? I might hear somebody say, oh, this is a good show, that's a good show. Some of them I try to watch and it's like, okay, they're good, but they're not the best, right? I used to watch Breaking Bad. That was really good. I think some of it wasn't that good, but I still hold it up there, right? Years ago, I watched Prison Break. That was a really good show. The second and third season weren't as good as the first, as what happens with a lot of shows, right? But just the context of that show, showing how this guy's brother goes to jail, so he goes to break him out of jail, but he's like, well, I helped design the jail, so I know how to get it out, and I'm going to tattoo the blueprints on my body, so I always have a map of the whole jail, right? Like, it was really clever how they came out with that show. But you know what show I'm watching lately is The Curse of Oak Island. How many people know about that show? Arthur Piner is in here. I'm a YouTube junkie. Yeah, me too. Everything I learn on YouTube, man. Merry Christmas to you, Arthur. And this Back River Firewood. How you doing? Lots of people in here coming in. Some new faces. It's cycling through. We're keeping around 30 people in here at any given time. Eric Modine, how you doing? Reality TV has become centralized. And you know what it's doing? It's making a lot of one gender act like the same gender on TV, right? With people who have no sense of satisfaction and they're just upset all the time and they're demanding and they don't really offer much anyway. Jeff Y is in here. I gave up on Oak Island. I know what you're gonna say. I haven't even read your comment yet, Jeff Y. It was just too repetitive. That's what I was gonna say. And I hate how they make these shows dramatic. Yes, they find a little like a little medallion. It might have been from like a higher up, like British or Portuguese soldier, whatever, right? And they make this big deal about this thing. But for me personally, I just think there's so many variables about those, right? It's like I I should be like a private investigator, because I think, okay, you found some, that it's some Portuguese thing from say between 1500 and 1700 and whatever, right? But it's like, yeah, but at the same time, you might have had like a British sailor who actually owned that item and, was there on the island at that time and just tossed it. He picked it up from somewhere else and he brought it there, right? So there's too many variables, you know what I mean? But on that note, the thing is, if you keep studying something, then you keep learning something. But I agree, Jeff. Why? Yeah, it's 10 seasons in now, and like every little clue they find is they're like, oh, does this lead to the mystery? But I'll tell you what, I have the patience of a fisherman. So, I mean, I'm watching those guys just throw like how many millions of dollars are they throwing in that what they call the money pit, right? But they're just throwing millions and millions of dollars in there. They're getting some help from the government of Canada to do the digging and stuff. They're getting a lot of donations too. But if anybody doesn't know that show, it's so in Nova Scotia in our east coast. There's an island there, and there's like a buried treasure, where what happened in 1705, there were some guys who were, and it used to be an island, but there's a driveway. They put like a driveway out to the island now, so it's technically not an island. But anyways, some guys were outside looking across to the island, and they said they saw some light there, and they decided to take the boat out and go across. Right? Oh, Disney Plus is not even safe now. That's right. Of course, I know all about what's guys. Anybody who says anything about anything here, I know about it because I do my research. You know what I mean? Any concept you bring up, like I understand that because I keep my ears open. I learn and I realize there's a world beyond the TV, beyond the consumerism, beyond the ego, beyond all those things. So, anyways, Oak Island. So these guys, they took a boat and they went over to the island in the middle of the night where the light was flashing, and then for whatever reason they start digging, right? They dig down, they get 10 feet down. There's a row of logs, right? We're all into firewood or logs or whatever, right? Yeah, so there's a whole row of logs. Nothing under it. They dig again. They keep going down. Another row. Every 10 feet, there's rows of logs going across until finally they get to 90 feet. On top of the logs, they find this big slab stone that's about this big, right? It has an inscription on it. So time later, they find out what the inscription means, and it says, basically, there's 2 million pounds of gold buried under here, right? So just imagine that 2 million pounds, guys. Like an ounce is what in US? I don't know what the price is now, but let's say if gold was $2,000 Canadian right now, then that would be about 15 or 1600 US dollars for an ounce. So there's 31.1 troy ounces um, in gold, because if you know about gold, then there's the troy ounce that you use to measure gold. So it's not 28 grams, right? Or sorry, 28 ounces. It's 31.1 ounces, right? So that would be more than 2 million regular ounces, kind of thing, right? So I don't, yeah, I guess they would still use pound versus whatever. So it'd still be more anyway, right? But well, there's a conversion thing. I was just getting into it more thing, trying to break it down, but you get the point, right? It's close to the ounce that we know anyway, but it's basically like, so if it's 1600 US dollars for an ounce, and there's 31 ounces in sorry, there's 28 grams regularly in an ounce, right? A troy ounce is 31.1 grams of gold. That's what it is, grams. So imagine if there's 2 million pounds there, and 1 ounce is worth $1,600. That's a huge treasure. Now, some people are like, oh, they won't find anything, this and that, and they've been digging for years, and they should have found it. And all these people throughout the years try to dig up the treasure too. Even F.D. Roosevelt, okay, he was there trying to dig up the treasure, okay. And then people go and they buy the island and stuff like that. And there was people who own property on the island, and two guys were trying to find the treasure, and they were like at war with each other, thing and kind of thing. And they actually made up, like one guy, and on his deathbed, kind of or close to his death, he got buddy with the other guy, and then one of them gave up the secrets that he knew and stuff like that, right? But then these two guys from Michigan, these guys are big into construction. The Lagina brothers, Marty and Rick, they saw Reader's Digest when they were young, and they heard about Oak Island, and they were just fixated. And then now they're there every year in Oak Island for the last 10 years doing this TV show, and they're going and digging up in there and everything. Like COVID came, and they had a hard time getting into the country and everything, and they had to quarantine for 2 weeks and everything, right? And they came here every year, and they just have these companies coming with massive rigs and massive equipment, like just convoys of equipment coming in to dig inside there. They have all kinds of scanners, drone scanners, ground scanners. They have a guy with a metal detector, one of the hand ones, right? A professional guy from England. He's like staying around here too, you know what I mean? But yeah, they just keep throwing money at the hole, and then now they have a diamond mining company from Canada, and they're gonna go in. There's one shaft that they know is there, and they kind of like arrange the rocks around it to preserve it, right? And say this hole is there, nobody's digging, putting dirt in it, and blah blah blah. So they have a diamond company that's gonna come in and make like a concrete wall inside. And then they say this year, like the team of guys who are looking for the treasure, there's the two brothers, and then one of the brothers, his like business partners, is the third main guy, I guess you could say, is in on it, right? But they are like, okay, well, we'll be able to actually walk down into the tunnel system. And what they're doing is they're doing like small boreholes all over to see what's what. And they keep finding wood everywhere, guys. They keep all over that one area. They keep digging into beams, right? So what they're now trying to do is map out in 3D where they're finding all the wood to see all the passages, because it's like booby trap, they say, right? And lately they've been talking about how it's booby trapped, so that part of it is like the treasure's actually higher than some of the tunnels go, right? So they made it so that it could flood in with seawater if you like dig the wrong tunnels and everything, you know what I mean? So I'm just waiting to see what happens there. They're gonna find the treasure, but there's a curse saying that seven people will die before they find the treasure, and six people already have died during the search for the treasure, right? So it's looks like it's going to be somebody that we know that's on the show is going to be dying, provided that's what happens before the treasure is found, right? So tragically, it might even be one of the main characters or whatever. So let's hope not, of course. Let's hope not anybody, but of course that's part of the curse, right? So we'll see. But that's a quite an interesting show because I always wondered about people and how they did things back then. They were so capable of doing things. Like, you had like a wooden ship with sails and you were able to navigate across the ocean and stuff, right? You had simple tools that help you tell you where the stars are and everything, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting that they went on these journeys and it's like they didn't have refrigerators, but they had to have food on the ship for like 4 weeks for a whole crew of people. Like how many crews on the ship? Like 100 people, right? So it's very interesting. Then with like because it's connected to the Templars too, the treasure, right? So it's um it's very interesting, how much of this story there is there. Okay, we have someone else in here. Bone warming hearth. Nice. Thanks for coming in. Oh, you said rumored buried. Yeah, well, it's okay. So about if there is gold in the water, right, or gold in the tunnels there. Now, what they did was they did some. I got like a splinter here. I was chopping up some sugar maple earlier today. Um, they have done sampling for gold and silver, and there's a high concentration down there that wouldn't be natural. So it's the data is telling you that there's gold and silver down there, right? And all these timbers that are there, like these, some of the timbers are down. I think some are like almost even 200 feet or something, right? But at least like a lot of the stuff is 90 feet down, and then there's stuff all over. So somebody dug some chambers down in there. Now, if you're gonna dig like that, there's got to be a reason why they're doing that. You know what I mean? If you want to say, okay, simply maybe they made like a little fort inside the like underneath, but this island is so small. You guys tell me if it's strategic. It's I don't know. It's a number of acres. It's not a big island at all. There's a bunch of lots on it where people's like personal property was, and they have like a little bit of acreage, but it's not big in any way you look at it. How you call this island, right? It's just off the coast too. There's a number of like inlets in that area. There's a number of islands there. And if I would think with the little knowledge that I have of like military strategy and stuff like that, because I know about World War II, right? I don't think that place would be like the most strategic. Like it's an island right near shore. You could defend from shore if you had to, but there's no reason to go and dig this massive like chamber with all these tunnels underneath this island. You know what I mean? But there's apparently like some mysticism towards the island itself, right? And then apparently like there's one oak tree on the island left, and it's like when that oak tree dies or falls over, whatever, that's when they find the treasure too, right? Let's see, James Bateman. Did you see the snow up north? Some places had major drifts over 6 feet. Yeah, because the snow we got, guys, like everybody got that storm right before Christmas, and we didn't get a lot of snow here in Toronto. Any snow that built up, it was snow that blew up against the wall or up against an obstruction or something, and it was thick there, right? Like I did shovel some snow. There's about this much snow when I went to my shop on because right in the middle of the storm, I went to the shop, right, and I had to do some work there. I was working inside, and yeah, I shoveled some snow, but then I came back to the shop today, and there wasn't much there. There's still about only this much, and it was kind of like blown off, and it was packed down from walking around, and there was snow up by the door, right? So it's probably like maybe up to a foot by the door, but there wasn't much over by the door anyway. So we didn't get the storm was bad because it was cold, because it was windy and everything, but it was Yeah, it was. There was not much snow at all. That wasn't really the problem, but it was really cold, and I couldn't even get the firewood hauler started, guys. I had it plugged in with the block heater, and the block heater just wasn't doing it. I brought the Tahoe in, and I hooked up the Tahoe to the battery cable. And I do need an oil change, so my oil was a little sluggish, right? So that caused a little bit of a problem because I even had a little bit of oil that was in the truck, and it was cold. But the fact that it was a little fresher, the motor did turn a little more, and I couldn't even do anything. I had like all this money in my truck, like scrap metal and stuff that I had to drop off for Christmas money. And I couldn't get the truck started, and the scrapyard closed early, so I still got the stuff in my truck, and I got to drop it off tomorrow, the scrapyard, and deliver that firewood and get back in the zone. You know what I mean? Let me see. Around the Yard is here. How you doing around the yard? Thank you for stopping in. Um, I think you guys are still talking about some. Let me go back through the chat here. Yeah, yeah, Daniel says he's only got Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, and Disney for the wife. If it wasn't for her, um, it wouldn't be in the house. Exactly, that's how it goes, right? Because us men, we want, none of that stuff. We don't really need the cable. We want the informational stuff. So YouTube has everything we want. You know what I mean? Um, Daniel Luther says, keep selling firewood. Yes, well, let's say worst case scenario, I wouldn't be selling, 16-inch face cords for people and stuff like that. I'd just be selling smoker wood. And plus, I also sell smoker pellets too, guys. So I would need wood for myself for three different reasons. And, and then I sell the pellets, right? And then, yeah, also I could sell the smoker wood, and some kindling too, right? I can always get rid of some kindling here and there. Ian says praying for Buffalo area. Hopefully the snow melts soon. Yeah, somebody died in their car too. Like that's such. But guys, if you don't know, well, you probably know because of the Buffalo Bills and the snowstorms that they get in Buffalo, right? But yeah, this it's horrible there. It's ridiculous, man. I'm where we are here. We're probably an hour and a half, maybe a little more. If there's traffic, it'd be more than that. But we're not very far from Buffalo, right? Like we're an hour and a half from Niagara Falls, maybe a little less. And then Niagara Falls from Buffalo is only like about a half an hour drive, right? But because Buffalo is on the eastern shore of Lake Erie, it just gets that lakefront snow, and it just gets whammed, you know what I mean? And then you have like down in Ohio, and Joe's over there near Youngstown, Ohio, and they get all that lake effect snow, and they get hit hard, man. We're on Lake Ontario here. We get lake effect snow, but sometimes we get it from Georgian Bay, but not so much. It's Georgian Bay over like anything east of Georgian Bay, which is Lake Huron. They get blown in there pretty good, like Muskoka and like Collingwood and all that stuff. And then the city of Barrie, which is on Lake Simcoe, they get hammered with snow like crazy, man. And I used to deliver wood just south of Barrie and southwest of Barrie. And it's a town called Everett, and it's pretty quiet. Like it's not really like a town center in it. It's just a bunch of addresses where people live, and they live in like this hole where the snow doesn't come, right? I used to deliver firewood to this cop up there, and he says, yeah, it doesn't really snow around here, but if you go to Barrie and other parts around here, the snow's like crazy, right? If anybody knows Butler Outdoors Canada, I was gonna actually call him, and I've been meaning to go visit him. He's up past Barrie, he's north on the Highway 400 going up towards Muskoka, and he gets hit with the snow pretty good too because he's in that area like southeast of Lake or Georgian Bay, right, which is Lake Huron. You know what I mean? Going through the chats. Okay, Back River Firewood is probably gone by now. Um, I'm way back up in the chats, but I'm scrolling through. Um, Let me see. Uh, William Klein has stepped in. Okay, how you doing, William? Nice to see you, man. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Hope you had a good Christmas. We always do family dinner at my parents' house. My parents is like where the family comes together, and then there's a big meal there. That's how we do it every year, Christmas dinner. and start off with Christmas breakfast, just the close family at home. And my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago, so we do our own custom things, and which is the breakfast, and we have some traditional foods there. There's usually smoked turkey and there's ham, and then there's these things called pastels, which are like tamales, because where my parents are from, there's a lot of Spanish culture, right? So there's a lot of similar foods that and similar customs, similar practices that we share as a Caribbean nation with this the Spanish people, right? Because like Trinidad, like the capital of Trinidad is called Port of Spain, right? It was founded by Christopher Columbus, who some people call Christopher Combustus, right? Yeah, it was founded by him, as if there wasn't anybody there before, But yeah, it's the last island on the Caribbean archipelago just above Venezuela. So if you go to the the northwest shore of Trinidad, you will see Venezuela to the west of you, right? There's like a spit that comes out from Venezuela and the tip of Trinidad. They both kind of aim at each other, and you could see Venezuela from Trinidad, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yes, Christmas is cold. I didn't have to do any traveling. I didn't go anywhere, and my parents live across the street. So, I just walked over it. I actually did get a drive over too. So, and I got to drive back at dinner time, right? So, yeah, so I made a trip there, but twice for the day, and I only walked one time, right? So uh, I really didn't walk outside. I wasn't outside at all. Eric Modine says, I am up for some oxtail if you're offering. Well, you know what? Like, yeah, there's oxtail goes around, but oxtails are like a Jamaican dish, right? So that's, we don't really make that. My mom has made that, right? But I mean, we do stuff that's similar. We stew different things and then make like a stew out of it, kind of, and lace it on rice, right? But yeah, oxtail is good. A lot of people think it's actual oxtail, but it's not, right? It's just one of those misnomers kind of thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, very popular Jamaican dish. I like cooking, and I actually like a lot of the Jamaican dishes that they do there, right? Trinidad also has a lot of Indian culture, so they have a lot of Indian style like cooking there, and a lot of vegetarian stuff too, right? But it's like curry roti, so you put the curry in a wrap, and it could be curry potatoes, it could be whatever veggies you want to use, shrimp. Um, uh, Nobody really does it with pork though. That's the thing, right? But chicken, beef, goat, um, lamb, fish, curry chickpeas, right? Yeah, potato. Like, there's so many things that people they just curry flavor the dish and then they just put it in the wrap, right? So that's a big thing for us. But there's a lot of good vegetarian dishes that like the Indian style food has from where I am, right? And then there's more like local dishes with like from the local diet too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Daniel asked, "What is oxtail?" It's just like certain cuts of the cow, and I guess it's from the tail region of the cow or something, but it's like where there's like it's like bone, but then there's meat like around it kind of thing. And then when you stew it, it's like the meat is like it's kind of like these clusters of meat around it kind of thing. I don't know exactly what part it is. I've looked it up before, but it's just stewed down. You use like a certain seasoning, and then you just stew it down kind of thing, right? See what in when you have certain places like in the third world, what happened was because the people who are dominating used to keep all the good meat and everything and all the good cuts of food for themselves. What happened in a lot of places in the world, and it's still to well, it's part of their culture today, but they learn how to take the parts that are not like that, and then or not the best cuts of the meat, and the parts that have a lot of bone but they have meat on them. They were given those, so they had to learn to cook a lot of dishes like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So like in what dish was I thinking of? Okay, well in certain places too, it's like okay you had chicken, but like only like the people who are running the show, they ate like the white meat of the chicken, and then like the lesser people, they got the dark meat of the chicken, right? So it's like that kind of mentality. So it's just learning to take, what's left over after, say, you cut up any animal, you get those nice chunks of meat out of them and stuff, whatever you could take, whether it's the leg or whether it's the tail section or whether it's the neck, or you know what I mean, right? You get the idea, right? So, and then like stuff like that, you take it and you stew it down, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's a pretty good dish. It's a very popular dish. Another Jamaican dish is ackee and saltfish. And ackee is a fruit that grows, and it actually looks and it has like a texture like scrambled eggs. And what you do is you take the salted cod, or what we call in the West Indies, we call it saltfish, right? And because like salted cod, like basically fed the world, guys. If we didn't, a lot of you probably know about that, but it's just there was so much like cod in the oceans, and like when they came to North America, they just see like the boats were like actually sailing on top of like codfish. There were so many. So what they did was they took the they salted all the cod so that they could bring the food, like preserve it and bring it all over the world, right? So in the Caribbean, a lot of the dishes are made with like salted cod, right, or saltfish as we call it, and like they make like little cakes, like little fried like saltfish cakes. You put like some like garlic, thyme, and onion there, and you season it up, right, and you put like other spices and stuff. You know what I mean? And you make this nice, tasty little like fried like dough like patty that has like the salty cod flavor and stuff, right? William Klein says my mom made oxtail soup, huh? Yeah, I bet it's very similar. At least I mean in the taste in a lot of way. The yeah, the I'm not sure what spices they put in the oxtail, because what happens is a lot of the Jamaican seasoning you can buy the thyme separate. You can buy pimento. You can buy other things, but a lot of stuff they have stuff that's mixed together. The spices are mixed there, so it's like, okay, here's a fish seasoning, or here's an oxtail seasoning, or like jerk seasoning is a mixture of like garlic, pimento, allspice, thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper, right? So you have a lot of things where all the seasonings mixed together. So it's not necessarily you're taking a few different things and putting them together, right? So a lot of people, they'll just buy the oxtail seasoning and then make it like that. You know what I mean? Unless you're really old school and you're really making it from scratch. And I mean, you're still doing from scratch. It's just you're buying your seasoning. It's all blended already together, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, okay, freaking Jeep John has got to go. Yeah, thanks for stopping in, man. Happy New Year and best of wishes. Let's get through this winter. I don't know exactly where you are. Where are you again? I can't. Anybody know where John, what state he's in? Somebody's gonna know here. I guarantee for sure, right? Um, okay, Daniel says sounds tasty. I guess it's like how Southern barbecue started here in the US. Yeah, it's kind of like where you have, say, you have like the rib bones, like the. I'm not necessarily saying, well, it's the same kind of thing. It's like you have the rib bones, which doesn't have a lot of meat. It's got the fat, right? And but the flavor's more rich and everything, and it's really messy to eat and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I would say it's that kind of vibe. The seasoning it makes it different, but it's that same kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Is he way down there in Florida, Daniel? Oh, he's in PA. Okay, yeah. Chuck says he's in PA. But William Klein says he's in Maryland. I knew he wasn't north, and I knew he wasn't south, right? Um, Anthony or Savage Firewood says, Anthony, how many face cord do you sell per year average? It's hard to say to put everything together, but I'll give you as good as a guess as I can. Now, if I fill all my crates, that's my dry seasoned wood, right? 16 inch, 18 inch, 12 inch, 14 inch. The most I've ever had is 100 crates, which are just under a face cord. So I guess you could call it maybe 90, 95 face cords in one year. And I did that in 2019 going into 2020. I had an employee with me the year before, and he helped me split a lot of wood, and we got a lot of crates filled. And so that's what I've done. But then I have the smoker wood, so that's not firewood, but I'd sell probably another few face cord at least, or maybe like, I don't know, maybe three bush cords, three full cords of smoker wood in the year, give or take. And then I also sell the green wood in the 40-yard bin. That's 6 cords a pop. So the most or the least I will sell of the 40-yard bins is I'll do 2 loads in a year. I might do, it's usually 2 or 4, because when I have 1 load together, then the other load's ready like shortly after, right? So I'll put the boiler wood in the bin. I won't put the boiler wood on the ground anymore because it's too hard to load in the bin, right? I tried that one time, and it's, even though you're doing less pieces because the pieces are bigger, it's just hard to hoist those pieces in. It was, when one of my first videos was like, it was winter, so that stuff was like heavy. It was cold out. It was like frozen. Some of that wood is probably a little lighter because the trees were cut down earlier in the season, or sorry, late in the season. In winter there's less water in the trees, right? And that was in March. So yeah, some of that wood would have been fresher, but a lot of that wood would only been seasoning for like 3 4 months, but there would have still been water in those trees if they were cut in the fall before, right? So they didn't, because they're big chunky pieces, they didn't lose much water overall, right? So I'll throw those pieces in the bin first. Then I'll throw the firewood on the ground as I'm filling all the cutoffs in the bin, right? So it takes about the same time to load up the big boiler chunks, and I'm getting less boiler wood overall. Sometimes you get a lot of a tree, there's tons of boiler wood in it, right? It's just, they cut it all thin, like 8 9 inches. It's like, 3.5 foot cookies. Like that whole thing's going to boiler. You can't make firewood out of it, right? And then it's a giant tree, so there's so many of them, or the tree's gnarly, and sometimes you get just a lot of wood for boiler wood. But generally, because the boiler wood is less, but takes up more room and it fills up fast, it takes about the same time to get the firewood together. So I'll do like maybe 12 cords. If I do 2 bins, I'll do 12 cords of that. So if I said 12 cords plus another 3 cords of smoker wood, right? But see, I don't do, the most I've done is almost 100 face cord, right? That's the most I've ever done. But like this year, I know when I moved, I had about 82 crates, and a lot of them were loose. I'd say maybe about a dozen of those crates were loose. So if I said I had 70 face cord, 60 face cord, even, let's say 65 face cords I had alone that was stacked, maybe even 60, even as little as that, 60 face cords, so that's 20 full cords. And then I had about 12 crates that were loose. So 12 crates loose, let's say 8 face cords, so that's almost another 3 cords, right? That's like 2.5 cords. So 2.5 cords plus at least 60. So let's say 65 cords I had this year, right? It still doesn't even sound right because the wood kind of went this year, guys. People are buying full cords off me, so it's like, that's 3.5 crates at a time, you know what I mean? So, yeah, let's say I sold maybe 65 face cords, and then that's 33, sorry, that's 22 full cords plus another 12 plus 15. So yeah, almost, I guess about 40 cords a year. If I do 2 of those full-size bins, the 40-yard bins, then that's another 12, right? So I might do up to 60 full cords per year, and all in different things, right? Even if you want to call kindling, I don't sell much kindling, right? But yeah, and then I might get some other dry wood that goes out throughout the season too. William Klein has asked me what's happening with my conveyor. My conveyor is still out at my shop, and I'm trying to sell it because I don't need it, guys. Right? And this is another thing with the business. Like, I'm not doing like a lot of wood lately because I'm out doing other things with my work. Like in the spring, I get busy doing stuff. Like, I don't split wood much in the winter, right? Then spring comes around, I'm doing all my other jobs because it starts to get busy. So I don't do much wood. Yeah, the wood starts coming out, and the companies call me to come and pick up the wood and whatnot, right? So I'm picking up wood, but I'm not getting much time to split it, So I don't split much, and then the summer comes around and it's too hot, right? Most of the time, if it's one of those days like where it's like 85 90 degrees, I'm not splitting wood till the evening. And then now, if I can't split in the evening because it's too hot out, and That's one factor, but then I can't use the machines after 7 p.m. So it's like, what I do, just run all the machines up till 7 p.m. and then I'm there another couple hours for just doing manual stuff, right? And that kind of doesn't work out with making video for you guys. You know what I mean? So unless I squeeze everything in, but it's everything's in like sequence too. So it's like that's something that I'd have to figure out. But my solution to not being in the woodyard late is actually going to bed earlier because I'm doing my day job. I'm starting late because this is my cycle, guys. I start late, I do my day job, I chill out a little bit in the like say evening after 5 o'clock. Then I go to the wood yard. Then I start splitting wood, and then I come home like 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I might do a little bit of editing of videos, and then I go to sleep at like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'm going to bed like half an hour later because I get some glitch. Like today's video that I released, I try to upload the thumbnail. It's telling me it's too big. It's bigger than 2 megabytes, right? Okay, I look, it's 2.87 megabytes. I shrunk it. Okay, it's under 2. It's still telling me it's too large. Okay, it's 1.6 megabytes. It's still too large. Okay, now I shrunk it to 1.2 megabytes. It's saying it's too large. So I had to work my way around. I had to refresh the screen and all this stuff. And yeah, this is keeping me up late, guys. So if I could actually just move my schedule 8 hours ahead of time, right? And, or it's not 8 hours, but say like 6, 7, let's say 6 hours. So 6 or 7 hours. If I could just move my whole schedule ahead that time, then everything would be okay for me. You know what I mean? I'd be finished my day job by like 3 o'clock. I can get to the wood yard and run the machines for 4 hours now and have plenty of time to like do everything. Right. Well, it still wouldn't be enough because you can't always just run the machines. There's cleanup, there's stacking, there's moving wood around. You have to go and use the saw and cut some wood with the chainsaw before you want to split more. Right. You guys know how it goes, right? So even if I had 4 hours to do all my chainsawing and splitting, sometimes that's not enough. You know what I mean? And you got to work kind of against your own grain. Let's go through the chat here. Let's go. How are you packaging your smokers wood, Savage? Oh, okay, you're talking to Mr. Savage over there. Yes, William asked about the conveyor. Yeah, I've seen these chats here. Okay, moving down the list and getting into the newer chats. I need to find the red bags. Len Swan. Where are you, Len Swan? You're in Ontario, right? I think so. Or are you the Len that's my customer? I'm not sure, guys. When you don't see people's faces here, it's hard to picture who people are. It's like I know the name. Even I have a bit of a photographic memory, and it's like, okay, so I remember how your name looks here, and that sticks in my head, kind of thing, right? I might even remember your picture or whatever, as small as they are sometimes. But it's just hard to picture, like, all everybody's story, kind of thing, and put names to faces, put names, YouTube users to customers, even sometimes too. James Bainton has an Easton made 37D, and yeah, in Canada here in Toronto. Um, yeah, James Bainton has a 37D, and that's the diesel. The D's designated for diesel. He has one of the Easton made 37D splitters, and he's just a few minutes away from the woodyard. So he's gonna come. He says, "What time can you start on a Saturday morning?" I mean, I can come in if I have to, James. Right? It's not to say that I could never, do anything. I could never get up early for anything. Right? I actually had to get up at quarter after 5 the other day because I had to deliver my 40-yard bin. Right? Speaking of the 40-yard bin, I did deliver it the other day. I got the video film, but I'm back on editing, guys. I'm over 2 months behind editing. But yeah, James, no, like. Yeah, we could do it probably Saturday morning. I don't have anything planned. Sometimes I have to go into work on Saturdays, but I don't have anything planned now. And even if, even if I had something planned on Saturday, I could still figure it out some way, somehow. But it's still not likely because it is going to be New Year's Day. So I might get a last minute call for something, but I wouldn't sweat it. We should be able to have you come into the yard, no problem, on Saturday morning. You get some wood done, and then even if we just do that for a bit, like say, I don't know what, 2 3 hours or something, and then even if I have to do some work after, then I can do it, right? My only conflict with B is if, okay, I have some scrap metal, I want to cash it out, and it's the new year, yeah, whatever, but I could leave it on my truck till the next week kind of thing. So worst case scenario is, and I wouldn't have to worry about tying up my truck over the weekend too. Like I'm not really going to be getting calls to do anything from New Year's and then through the Monday too. The Monday's going to be a holiday too, right? So yeah, it just shouldn't be a problem for you to come on Saturday morning and do some splitting. I was gonna ask you about maybe Thursday or maybe even Friday, right? But yeah, if you want to do it Saturday, if that's what you got in mind, okay then, sure. Um, Let me see. Len Swan, you need to find red bags. Do you mean like the onion, the mesh onion bags? Yeah, like I said, where are you located? Because if you're in Canada here too, um, then I know where you can order them. They're in Chatham, Ontario, which is on the north shore of Lake Erie. For those that don't know, but oh, James, you were asking if I could split on Saturday and Sunday morning. Yeah, but you know what? In the summer, I mean, it's too hot in the summer for one thing, but it's Saturday. There's times where I might have stuff in my truck that got to go to the scrapyard in the morning, right? I used to get up almost every morning when I first started business and even driving around for scrap metal and going to the scrapyard in the morning. Now I might just have a quick call to do and take stuff in. It's not really open now all the time. I don't have to go in every morning. Like it's probably most times I don't, right? But there might be other things that I got to do on Saturday too. But my thing with if I have scrap for Saturday morning, I have to get it in before 11:30, and then I have to empty the truck for if I have anything later. Because if I can't dump off my scrap metal in the morning on Saturday, then I have to go like to the west end, like down by like Mississauga border, right? I have to go all the way to the other side of the city to get to that scrapyard in the afternoon to empty my truck. If I want to do anything else on Saturday afternoon and I miss going to the scrapyard, which is around the corner from the shop, right? But yeah, send me a text and we'll figure out Thursday or Friday. It's going to be warmer too, so yeah, I know we got a lot of rain coming. I think Thursday's open and there's only like 1 millimeter during the day. I think I saw that yesterday, the weather forecast, right? But yeah, so okay, so I get from it's a company called Lloyd Bag, and like I said, they're in Chatham, Ontario, and it's they raised their price. I think it's close to $300 for 500 bags. So in US, that would be I don't know about 240 bucks US for 230, 240 for 500 bags, and they're 32 by 20. So like they're the big size. They're not small size at all. It's a big bag, right? So if you have like they can fit 16-inch logs in them, but not too well. Sometimes you get like, like they kind of double up or they interlock kind of thing, right? It depends. If you cut wood that's like 14-inch, maybe 15-inch, maybe let's say 14 and a half, that's enough for those bags, right? And then you can get like double rows in it too, right? But yeah, if you put 16, they're not really gonna go like, then it looks like there's less wood in the bag kind of too, right? But it's yeah, it just doesn't work out that well with 16-inch. Okay, Savage Firewood is calling it an early night. Thanks for stopping in, man. Happy New Year and best wishes. Yeah, I like doing this chat thing. I like getting people together and just talking about stuff, you know what I mean? But I felt I wanted to get this channel to where like enough people are interested in it that I don't just come on here and I'm just like talking about whatever, you know what I mean? But I like when people get together, so that's why I kind of like this whole situation here. James Bainton says, "Do I take it to Triple M Metal?" Yes, that's a New Jersey-based company, and yeah, it's right around the corner from my shop. Like I can see, if I walk out of my door from the shop, I can see the big cranes that they use to like the crane with the magnet. I can see them from my shop, right? So yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I know I don't want to quit, man, because I like doing all this stuff, guys. Things were a little slow with me getting subs and whatnot. I don't get a lot of subs all the time, But I've been getting some and getting a lot of people saying, "Hey, man, I really enjoy your videos." I've been getting a lot of comments like that lately, so it's like I want to keep doing it. You know what I mean? That's one thing why I don't want to stop doing the Firewood channel, because I love doing it. I like making videos in this field, and I actually have an idea to do another channel. And I kind of don't want to mix like, I don't. It's gonna be something totally different. It's like I want to have two different worlds where I have this channel where we're here with some people here, and then I want to start something else that's kind of in a different field. I don't really want to associate them together, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't really want to, bring all my subs over from, this channel and say, well, here I have this other channel and stuff. I know you guys will support me like that too, but it's just I'm just kind of on the fence of what I want to do for another channel, right? Tim Stout says a history channel. Yeah, I could do some history. So, I mean, I could do a whole World War II channel, guys. But here's the only thing that's deterring me from doing something like that is I don't understand how YouTube works. So I make my Firewood videos, right? And anybody hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button yet. Thank you very much. Politics, Daniel, can't do it, man. You get censored, and everybody here knows you get censored. But here's the thing: the censorship is nothing. Like how you feel about it, it's nothing until it actually happens to you. That's when it hits home. I mean, we could sit here and say, "Oh, this got censored, this got censored," blah blah blah. But when you're making videos and you get censored, it's absolutely ridiculous because you're like, "Where'd I go from here now?" You don't know what the parameters are. You don't know what can get you your video canceled or not. And I went through that, guys. I started a channel with political stuff. I put up some statistics in my third video. The video got taken down, right? So I did two more videos after that, and I said, you know what, forget this, man. And I had the burning earning to do a channel, and that's when I started doing the Firewood videos. And my first video was IBC totes. That one I made officially for YouTube, but I had other stuff that I had filmed in my phone, or with my phone, like dumping a 40-yard load of firewood. I had that on my phone from before. So I actually took that and I put that up on the channel, right? William says, party with Anthony channel. Yeah, you know what? I'm the social person. I like to party, but it's not part of my routine because it's like I got responsibilities. A lot of my friends are married and stuff, and they got kids. And here we live in a busy place, guys. I know a lot of you guys live in the quieter places, like out of town and stuff too, right? But here in Toronto, it's just go go go. Everybody's go go go. Everybody's got to do stuff. Nobody's got time here, man. I mean, Tim Stowe, you're right. They don't like the truth, man. Guys, I've been awake since like, if you want to get technical, I've been awake since like the early 90s. You know what I mean? Because, you have like, I grew up in the best time with like hip hop and rap music, right? Which was like the early 90s. It was when it was like, all these artists where the whole scene was underground. It wasn't stuff that was played all over the radio, but it was like people were they were on all the charts and everything. You know what I mean? But if you were to ask a lot of people, who are these people? Nobody knows about them. But that whole era, it was big because the music was big, but it was underground. But then there was a whole conscious side of hip hop, where people were talking about history and they're talking about all these conscious things, and I picked up on that. You know what I mean? And I was always inclined to be curious about things, whereas even I would listen to things that I wasn't interested just so I could learn things. You know, so. Also too, it's yeah, so when I started going to high school and I was in that whole era, and you had like conscious rappers rapping about some real stuff, and I really listened. But then it's like the all that stuff, hip hop rap started like falling off because it all went commercial. All these artists that set the stage for hip hop to be like mainstream, it's like it got taken over by the whole like booty shaking Puff Diddy or P Diddy kind of stuff. Taking all these old school songs and remaking them and stuff. Not that hip hop wasn't doing that before, but it wasn't like it wasn't like music that was from the heart. It was just commercial bling bling, stupid kind of music. You know what I mean? After like Tupac and Biggie, that was kind of it, you know. But I remember in 1991, they were playing the certain music, like Mary J. Blige and Biggie Smalls and all these people, and I was like, this era is bigger than what we knew. I was in '92. Was that 91, I think, I think it was 91. So I was like 15 years old, guys, 14, 15 years old, and I was like, this era is bigger than what we actually realize. You know, this is an era of the black community. And, you know, that stuff is from the United States. We're here in Canada, and we were just filled with it. But it wasn't on the radio. It was all underground. But it's just all this music was so big, and everybody knew it. Everybody's listening to it. But it just seemed like this bigger era. You know what I mean? So it was when I had more of my awakening. It was later on, and I went to public school. I grew up in Catholic school, but when I went to a a public school, we're doing ancient civilization courses, and they're talking about history and, you know, did we evolve or did we not evolve, or were we created, or were we not created by God, right? And then talking about all these different societies, and, you know, we touched on like the biblical stories and stuff. We talked about Jesus, and we talked about Noah, and the parting of the Reds, or Moses and stuff. Like, not really, no, not really Moses. It was like Noah, and, you know, how did history come up with people. We talked about evolution, all these things, but it was more like human history kind of thing, instead of like from the beginning. We talk more about the different societies, as opposed to like where was everything right from the beginning kind of thing, you know. But what I started realizing is like biblical history is all, it's all intertwined with the rest of the history of the world, and it's, there's history there for you. So why is everybody saying it's all fables? You know what I mean? So that's where I had like my awakening, and then I got that tip. But I had all the esoteric stuff, all the secret stuff that was going on. And I never like theories, guys. I don't like, if you know, you're talking about something and it's just an idea. Like, I don't like that. I like the fact that it's info. But what's scary is when you start picking all these things, or taking all these things. Chuck is taking off. All right, take care, Chuck. Have a good night. And thanks. Yeah, good live stream. Thank you very much. Yeah, and happy New Year. If I don't not see you, but see you on YouTube before the end of the year. You know, I mean, you'll probably be on Back 40 live stream, possibly next. Is that Saturday or whatever? Yeah, but yeah, guys, I just started seeing a lot of things, a lot of sources of information. They all connect together. You know, and it helps me understand the world more better, and where it's leading, and, you know, why we have this fake culture and this fake life. It's like, okay, what does our society tell us that your life is about? It's about looking good to other people. It's about, like, you know, going out and or eating takeout, or watching TV, and like going to sports games and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we know there's stuff like having family and interacting with people, and, you know, learning from people and helping people and those kind of things. But it's like, well, really, what's beyond that? What's our life for? It's like, okay, like I don't believe in evolution, but even if, like, you know, lightning did hit a puddle, and, you know, that was a primordial soup, and then everything started changing from one thing to the next, right? It's like, even if that's proven, right? It's like, but what's the purpose? What's it for? You know, why did it happen like that, right? Why is there this sequence of events that's happening to, well, here I am with a laptop, with electricity, with fossil fuels, with all these products derived from the earth, right? Having a conscious brain, um, having all these things symbiotically working with itself. Like, why is it that all these things just came into existence and just started working with everything? Like, how many particles are working with how many particles for how many processes to happen? And it's like, okay, but even if you can say why those happen, you can see the science, right? Then it's like, okay, well, but why does it happen? It's not just how it happens. Why does it happen? Why did it start? And why does it keep going on? You know what I mean? So I see some people are taking off. Yeah, Chuck says, Happy New Year, brother. Tim Stout's got to go. Good night. Yeah, man. We'll see you on a live stream. I don't know when I'm going to do the next one. I'm pretty spontaneous overall. So I'll see you guys soon. And Happy New Year. And I guess Mr. Bone is going to Bone Warming Hearth. Yep. You're gone too? Okay, yeah, have a good night, man. Thanks for stopping in, you guys. I really appreciate it, you know. I'm not going to be on here too much longer, but yeah, just the topic that I'm talking about now, it's not really what the channel is about and whatnot, right? Not typical of something you'd see here, but yeah, I love talking about these things, you know, and I'm not getting too deep either, right? But yeah, I just want to give you a sense of where I come from, guys, because you'd be like, okay, yeah, this guy does wood, and he knows about maybe World War II and stuff. But what's his background? Where does he come from? What kind of philosophies does he have or understanding of life? I'm sure, if my channel gets big enough, I'll start getting those questions more. Not that I have so far, but I mean, yeah, I've told people before that when you start a YouTube channel, you just got to make your content. But if you get big enough, say like a Wrangler star or somebody, well, I mean, he's an extreme example, but you just get so big that people will, they'll want to actually watch you making a sandwich, while you're off camera and stuff. So I see Garrett Orr's in here. I haven't seen you in a bit. I saw you like a few months ago. We had a little conversation on here. You said I just have a 30-ton box splitter. I cut and split nearly every day whenever I have spare time. Good for you, man. That's how I try to do it, right? I'm busy with so much stuff. I wish I could split more wood, right? You're using Craigslist and Marketplace. I don't use Marketplace that much. I've gotten a couple calls about Firewood, but not very many. I just advertise on Kijiji. That's like we have Craigslist here, but we have Kijiji, which is really big. And I think Craigslist was the first thing, and then Kijiji came out after. But then Kijiji just dominated here, and people don't really use like Craigslist anymore, right? So there's hardly any ads on there. There's no availability, right? So let's see. Yeah, so you have a 30-ton box store splitter, and you in your spare time you split wood. Plus, use business cards and that you hand out. Yeah, I don't really use business cards. I tell people to keep my number in their phone thing, right? I had business cards for years that reflect my other business. They don't reflect Firewood, right? So it's like I don't know. Business cards get lost. Some people, like the older generation, they'll go and pin up the card somewhere. They have a stack of them somewhere, kind of thing. But now it's more electronic. I'm more old school too, but it's like yeah, I have converted over time into like the newer school like stuff, you know what I mean? It's like I use a GPS instead of a map book. My neighbor Keith in my building, he still tries to use a map book and he's always getting screwed around. I said, just get the GPS, it's gonna save you, man. It's you can't beat the map, right? So or you can't beat the GPS map, because it's gonna tell you the traffic and everything, right? So Daniel says Craigslist is where I am mainly at for sales. Okay, yeah, this like I said, is Craigslist here is like so small, but I think even here it got to be like more of like an escort kind of service website, right? So I remember way back in the days it was sleazy, but I've been selling stuff online for over 20 years, man, right? Like that's just my mentality. Like, oh, okay, you can get stuff and you can sell the items online, right? And I had a friend who was doing that too. So we always just try and have an itinerary of like, items that we were trying to sell, or an inventory of items that we're trying to sell. I used to part out Toyota 4Runners, and that's kind of where I had like my first places of business. One was a friend's garage, and another place was a friend's barn, like just out of town, right? But yeah, I used to buy Toyota 4Runners and strip down all the parts and sell them. This is long before I did the scrap business too, like a few years before I did the scrap business. So yeah, I used to make money back then, and I would put ads. I would put the stuff on eBay for auction. There was no picture, and it was the simplest items. The little simple heating switch knobs, right? The door lock knobs, like everything I would sell the whole truck without any pictures. And then I started incorporating pictures, and then the sales just for some reason got less and less, and then the whole market just died up, guys. I don't know what it is, man. Like it just died, so where I had to stop doing it. It'd have been nice if I had been still doing it, and I was doing like the scrap metal, because then I get like another bit of money for the rest of the truck, right, for the frame and everything. So my own Forerunner, when the time finally came around get rid of that truck because I had bought my first diesel pickup at the time. So I made the sacrifice of taking my nice convertible truck. I already started using it for scrap metal recycling, and I bought a trailer. And I throw all the scrap steel in there and throw the goodies in the back of my Forerunner, and so that I no longer use it for convertible that summer. But I did buy another Forerunner, so I was like, okay, I can sacrifice my old truck, right? And no point in having a truck like sitting around, you know what I mean? And at that time, I didn't have a place to park it. So okay, because I was in scrap, when I took that truck off the road, I sold the engine, which was still good. It was running like a top. I sold all the parts, and then I cut the whole frame up, and I took the fiberglass cap off because it's convertible, right? I took that to the dump, and then I cut the box off of the truck and threw that in my pickup truck. Took it into the yard. I took the rest of the frame after taking off the wheels. I cut the frame in half, and then I took the cab and the front end separate. So basically, whatever I stripped out, the rest of the truck, I took it apart into 4 parts, and then I took that into the scrapyard, right? So that was my transition. That was like 2007. Okay, no new chats. Yeah, it's almost time to wind this down. Anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything to talk about? I know I'm up here to talk and stuff, but I like to be more interactive, right? And engage with everybody. I'm not here just to talk by myself, kind of thing, because I like hearing what people have to say, or I like even when people give me insight about things. And this is the reason why I did this chat tonight too, is because I want to like talk to people and get their insight on what to do in my situation too. You know what I mean? Get some information from you guys, or some perspective, so that I can consider that and not just do things on my own. Because the thing about when you have like a good business too, it's when you have a bunch of people pooling together information, right? It's You can do a lot, but you know, you have your limits too. So if you have 10 people in a room talking about stuff, then you're going to get a lot more information out there, a lot of more ideas, a lot more resources and stuff, right? So, okay. So Daniel says, when are you making the trip down to the U.S. for an event like Bunyan? Yeah, Daniel, I want to come, man. It's just, this year has been hard. This year started off good, like with the spring for my business, but then I had to fix every piece of machinery that I have, and I had to move, right? Like the move cost me like over 2,000 US, maybe 2,500 US, if you factor everything, right? There was like a lot involved, a lot of like, just preparation I had to do. Even if you want to count like the labor too, and that takes away from making money out there too, right? So it just, everything cost me, and then I went on my fishing trip in July, and then boom, it's like the phone just stopped ringing, you know. So yeah, James, Thursday. Thanks for coming out to the chat. Yeah, we'll try and do it on Thursday. Eric Modine says, "What are the scrap prices in your area?" We are getting around 250 a metric ton. Is that for shred? Because if you're getting that for shred, that's a little bit better price than we're getting over here, right? We're getting 230 a ton for shred right now. And what I tell people is that 200 bucks a ton is like a bare minimum now. So we're not getting anything, you know what I mean? Daniel says, makes sense. I was planning a few till I got the splitter on order. Yeah, and of course, you make a big purchase, that's going to throw things off, right? But for me, it's the time, guys. That's one thing. But okay, now what am I going to do? Because I looked up where Bunyan is. I looked up where the Firewood Frenzy is, right? And like obviously, like the Firewood Frenzy all the way in Wisconsin. That's more like, see, I'm more thinking about that because that's where like our YouTube Firewood community is. It's pretty much solely based on that community. You know what I mean? So that's like kind of where I've been thinking about going. And the Paul Bunyan show is, it's not just firewood, it's logging, it's all these things, it's tools and machinery, equipment. It's not like a grassroots, just the firewood channels at the splitter factory kind of event, right? A new event. So for me, that's more like tight knit and everything, and that's what I've been thinking is like the main one in my eyes of the two events, right? But I mean, like looking at, and it's funny because I didn't get to look at too many videos of the Firewood Frenzy, like on all the different channels. And same thing with Paul Bunyan. I wish I had time to go and look at more videos, right? Like I touched on one or two maybe. I saw some with Buck and Billy Ray, and he had a good time there. And others, guys like Chris in the Woodyard had a good time with Buck and Billy. I didn't even really see that footage either. You know what I mean? I might have got a sample of it, but it's yeah. Like I think I think the Paul Bunyan show this year was really good in terms of all the YouTubers getting together. But it just looks like the YouTube Firewood group is getting to be a big thing and like a big community, and getting to know like everybody and going to all these events, and it's like more of an established thing now, you know what I mean? Whereas before it's like, and I'm still new to the Firewood community on YouTube. I have been looking up log splitters for, and when did I build my splitter? Because when I was building my splitter, I was looking at designs on YouTube, and that was like almost 10 years ago, right? So I've known about that. I haven't really been looking up like firewood itself kind of thing. I did look up probably about IDing and stuff. I can't remember. That's if I was looking at stuff for firewood, I must have because I'm a researcher, right? I just can't remember what I was doing back those times, but I remember I was looking up log splitters a lot because that's how I came up with my design of the log splitter. And I remember the Easton Made, and I kind of remember the name, and then I even remember looking up Easton Made and seeing that they were in Perth, Ontario, right? So Perth, Ontario is about 3 hours and 15 minutes from where I live, east northeast, and the lake where I go fishing is an hour west. So the lake where I go fishing is like 2.5 hours from where I live, right? So if I just like go down the main road, there's Highway 7, which runs across like it's the Trans Canada Highway, right? So it comes from Ottawa, and it runs across like through cottage country, and then it goes up around. It meets. It's not called Highway 7 once it starts going up around the Great Lakes, but yeah, that highway just kind of goes across. But how does it go? Great. No, Highway 7 still goes west though. And where does it go from there? It doesn't go across. That's a different highway. That's Highway 1, Trans Canada, like Yonge Street, goes up over the Great Lakes. But Highway 7 goes down west, and it goes under, like it stays close to like the Lake Ontario shore relatively, and it just keeps going west. It doesn't go north or anything. It's going north through cottage country and over Toronto and everything. But yeah, it goes west under the Great Lakes kind of thing. So I'm just trying to think where it like ends, or does it just meet somewhere? I don't really know because I don't travel out that way, guys. I don't go northwest at all, really. I've been down the 401, which is west towards like Detroit, like going to Windsor. Like when I'm staying in Canada, I've gone to London recently, which is like about halfway towards Windsor, right? And I'm not really much off of the 401 there too. So most of my traveling is north and east or northeast. That whole, excuse me, 90-degree quadrant between north and west, right? That's where I generally go. Joseph is here. How you doing, man? Merry Christmas, bro. It's nice to see you. I was about half an hour. I was actually thinking about you, right? Yeah, thanks for coming out, man. He's one of my loyal supporters of this channel. He's been around for a long time. And Joseph Grant out in Wisconsin, I actually want to come out there and meet him. So Daniel, if I go to the Firewood Frenzy, I'm going to come out there, and it's either Joseph's coming to the Frenzy or I'm going to Joseph. You know what I mean? It's something like that, right? So Daniel Luther says, "Don't quit again." Guys, I do not want to quit the firewood business, man. I do not want to do it because I just enjoy what I'm doing. It's hard work. It's too much. I don't have the fastest process. I'm not selling my smoker wood, which is, where basically which makes it kind of worth me doing the business, right? But I love doing it. I love interacting with people in the firewood world because I don't know, for whatever reason it is, it's just we all think firewood is hard work, and we freaking love it, and we appreciate other people who do firewood too, so it's, yeah, man, it's tough, man. I feel like I owe you guys something too. I've done this big channel and I want to keep going. I don't want to be like, okay, well, guys, you know what? I got rid of the wood yard. I sold the beast splitter. I sold one of the speakers or the Speako splitters, right? Um, but I just have a chainsaw and I just pick up some wood for the shop that I burn, and I have a little pocket here where I just cut up my little wood and I stack it for myself to dry, and then I'll get teased into like saying, okay, well maybe I'll save like a crate, you know, for a face cord for somebody who wants to buy next year, right? I don't want to be like, okay, well guys, I just picking up wood like once every like month and a half, and oh well, I'm just taking out the axe and making smoker wood. Like that's nothing for you guys, you know what I mean? But another thing too with my channel is I'm doing all these videos that are slightly related to firewood or not related to firewood, and I'm not actually getting views off of those videos, right? So my nature tourism, my World War II, my yeah, the tree ID, the nature tourism, like Niagara Falls and everything like that, right? The scenic caves. People don't watch that stuff, right? And this is what JPF said, Joe's Firewood videos. He says he's been on YouTube for years, guys. He does scrap metal recycling like me too. I'm not sure how much he does it now, but he he has put up, he's got scrap videos from like 12 years ago, and he said I used to put all these videos on YouTube, and the only thing people watched was the firewood videos. So that's why JPF is Joe's Firewood videos, is because all the stuff he put on there never got views except the firewood, right? So anyways, I'm not getting views off of those things, and I'm trying to figure out, because I like the nature tourism, so a lot of my footage I can just even take and put on another channel kind of thing, right? And it's like, okay, I could, if I started a nature tourism channel, my problem is, well, how many trips am I going to be able to do in a year, right? Like I do my fishing trips and that could be incorporated, but I don't even get to fish much. So if I'm going to do videos where I'm going to all these different sites, it's like, okay, well, that's going to cost me money too. You know what I mean? It's going to cost me, say $100 in fuel for the day, right? Maybe more, right? So it's like, okay, you do that, and you got to have the time, because I'm not going to go and do something for like, take an hour and a half drive and do something for like an hour and a half, and then leave and have an hour and a half back home. I want to make like a trip out of it. You know what I mean? I'm going to pack some lunch and I'm going to try and see as much as I can see. So I can't be doing a nature channel where I'm just driving all the time to do that, because the time and the money it costs is, it adds up over time, and I'd have to have a big channel for it to be able to pay for it so that I could do that, but it's going to take time. But I don't know how YouTube works, because it seems like now you can have a channel where you make random videos, right? And you can have good success. You could have where your channel is not doing anything, but then you have one video that does everything for you, right? It's like, I just met a guy, he's from Toronto, he's been watching my channel and watching my videos, and this guy was on CNN. Okay, he got called by the news in the US, and then I even saw in the comments on his video about how certain news operations, they were saying, hey, we're from such and such news, do we have permission to use this video? What happened, he was on the 401 here, the major highway that's going east and west through the city, and he was just in one of the suburbs just right beside Toronto, and a car tire came across the highway and went right into his windshield and nearly killed him, right? It went like, I don't even think as far as like all the way to the passenger seat. I think it came like right through the center of the window, so it missed him by like this much, you know what I mean? And you could see the guy in front of him swerved out of the way, the tire bounced, and then boom, like next thing you know, it's just right in his windshield, right? So I was talking to him. He was saying, oh yeah, you make good videos, this and that, blah blah blah. So I said, so then I went to his, because a lot of times I see people chat with me, I'll just go over to their page, So I saw that he had like, almost 200,000, almost 200 subscribers, and he had 3 videos. Well, the one video was of the tire going into his window, right? Or through his windshield. So then I asked him, are you the original poster of that, right? And he says, yeah, I'm the original poster. I'm like, I think I even remember that too, because he has a picture of himself on his page, right? So I said, I remember there being the news article, like even not too long ago, like this happened a while back, but just like, in recent months, I think, or something like that, if memory serves me correct, that's that story came up again, whatever, something like that, you know? So it was interesting to meet that guy, and his video had 1.9 million views on it, guys, right? So it's just funny how this YouTube works. So what I was basically saying was why I'm telling this story is because um, people have random stuff in their channel, and they might have a big channel, they might not have a big channel. My friend who taught me about using YouTube as like when you have a channel and how to figure everything out and how to do everything, his channel's all over the place, but he made such good videos, he had viewers, right? Like he's a professional with online production, with video, with music, all these things. So his videos were like, didn't matter if you were interested or not, his videos were like amazing, you know? So he had success that way, right? But with me, it's like, okay, well, how does YouTube filter out my videos when I'm putting them out? And okay, all these people watch Firewood videos, right? Okay, but then they're not watching my other videos. Is that because the people themselves are not interested in my videos and don't click on them when they pop up? Is it the keywords? Because sometimes I leave the regular keywords that I have for my firewood business. I leave those in there and I still don't get hits from the people in the firewood community. But then my videos are not taking off in other worlds. So is my channel saying, okay, well, no, like, we just promote your videos to the firewood people only, and we don't promote your Niagara Falls, Scenic Caves videos, all those other ones, Nature Walk, Tree ID. It just doesn't promote those to other people because, guys, I'm really not getting any views off of any of those, you know, and those videos take the longest to edit. My Niagara Falls video is like 38 minutes. The caves one is only like 21 minutes. One of my Nature Walk Tree ID videos is 35 minutes. One of them is 27 minutes, and it takes so much time. So it's like, it's already like I put too much time in the firewood videos for one thing, but then the other videos that I do, it takes so much more time, you know? And even if you're doing like tutorial stuff where you're talking and and you want to just edit talking, it's hard, right? Well, for me, because I'm here free flowing now and I could talk to you guys, but if it's like, okay, I'm filming a video now and I have to talk about all these points, I'm not made for that. I'm not like a person who memorizes lines, who can just flow like that. I'm kind of used to it because I'm using a camera, but I'm not the type of person to go on with a camera and start doing stuff. You know what I mean? If you want to ask me questions, I interact with you, I can flow with that smoothly. But even some of my first videos were horrible because I'm just like, and what and this horrible, you know. So, and I didn't know how to edit either, so you were getting raw footage from you guys. And but I just kept at it and I kept at it, and I learned how to edit videos. And first I was using YouTube editor, which it's not an editor. All you can do is cut out sections of the stuff that you're watching, kind of thing, you know what I mean? Or the video that you have, all you can do is say, okay, you want to eliminate this part, that's it. There's no adding stuff, music. There is, but it's very limited. There's probably 3 or 4 features, when naturally if you're editing in a video, you're already access to like 50 or 100 different features, or 150 minimum that you can do, right? So YouTube editors, you can't even call it an editor. It's just like a clip deleter, right? That's what it is, you know? So I was using that first, and then I have a friend whose his life is audio video, and I wanted to get him to help me edit, but he's busy with his own life. So it's like, you know, I can't. Back in the day, my channel was simpler. I'd make a video and I could edit it and get it out within the day or the next day or something, right? But I'd send it to him, and you know, I'm not having the turnaround time. So I said, okay, let me just download a proper software program, get in there and start editing, right? Like, so like my video when I went to the Easton Made Splitter Company, I actually that was just edited on YouTube editor. And then there's even a point where you can't edit the video anymore. Like you can only take out certain amounts from the video, and I would run out sometimes, right? So it's like, okay, now the stuff that you kind of want to take out, you have to leave it in there because you don't have any room. And then maybe if you got lucky, you could go back to the video like a month later, and then you could get like one more little edit in there, right? You could squeeze that one out, you know? So it's good that I learned the process, because there's just so much that I learned how to not only take away from the video and do it right and have that ability, but so much stuff that I could do with adding in the text, with adding in the time lapse, adding in the music, fading the music in, fading it out, putting in effects. If I say something funny, then I put the donkey face up on the screen, and then you hear the donkey laugh, right? And it's all kind of tactics, and I have an artsy sense, so I've learned from some some production tactics from things that I've watched over time. Like just when I think back about how they did things, and I would do that. And we had a news agency here that they had these funny ways of filming their news stories, right? They'd be on site, and they were city TV news guys. It's probably was like the first news agency to start using the selfie camera. I swear we did that first here, guys, because you'd have where the person is talking and saying, okay, we're here at the courthouse today and such is in court and there's a sentencing, blah, blah, blah. But then you'd see them, they'd flip and then they turn the camera angle, or they turn the camera and it's still angled at them, but it's like they just did something different with it, what I mean? And you could tell that they're handling the camera. And what with the news is usually some guy holding some big ass camera, and then the person's just there with the microphone on the other end and they're talking, right? But they had like probably a big selfie stick, what I mean, a smaller camera, because those other cameras back in the day, they were bulky, right? But I just started using tactics and then stuff that I've even seen characteristic of like YouTube videos too. Barry Thompson's in the house. How you doing? Another supporter of this channel. More recent one. You've been around a lot lately. Thanks for coming out and enjoying my videos, man. Just stick to what you're doing good. Yeah. Like I said, I'm having some back issues. It's a good time of year to move out of my yard if I'm doing that, instead of paying more rent for not really doing anything in the summer, or sort of over the winter. But yeah, I know. Interesting content. Yeah, I love doing it, guys. I like making it interesting for you. Sometimes my videos is like, okay, might be interesting to you, but it's just kind of like filler stuff. Like I'm doing an average day inside the wood yard, and especially if it's dark or if it's winter, it's hard to give you every angle. It's like when I go stack the wood, it's like in a back corner. I can drag the light over, right? But yeah, it's hard to do a lot of good filming in there. And then even like I'm in work mode too, so it's hard to be trying to run a camera operation and trying to get as much done in the wood yard as you can, because you guys know how it is. After you split, you got to clean up. After you saw, you got to do sawdust. After when I say when you're splitting, there's to clean up the debris, right? After you split the wood, you got to go and stack the wood. You might have to do some more moving around the wood or pulling some wood out of the pile, and then you got to go cut some more, then you got to go split some more, and you take your break, and everything just takes time. You got to fill up the saw and the log splitter with gas, and it's so much time. And when you already don't have enough time to do what you're doing inside there, right? Because I'm doing my day job, I'm doing editing at home, and it's like, okay, well, you try to squeeze out as much wood as you can while you're in the yard, but you're trying to do the best camera angles. Like, okay, I want to put a camera on top of the 40-yard bin. I want to put one on top of the container. I want to put the camera up or on the IBC totes above the splitter instead of just standing on the ground beside the splitter, so that you're not seeing the splitter like one side of the wood coming out while I'm splitting wood that's going out the other side. That's why I put it up on the totes, so that you could see like as if you're looking down on my tabletop and I'm working there, and you could see what's going on the left and right of me, right? So I'm trying to do all these angles. I'm trying to wear the head camera, right? I'm trying to put the camera with the tripod on the Spico log splitter so it can go up and down. And I want to get a mount, guys, where I can just like screw it into the wood when I'm splitting. So when I push it through like with the Beast, I have a camera mounted right on top of the wood, right? Or actually, no, not on top of there. Sorry, it would be on the box wedge, so that you could see, and maybe like put a pole on it so that the camera will be just above it, so you'll see a view like, okay, there's the wood in front of you, and as it goes forward, you see it going into the wedge, right? You can't put it on the wood because the wood will tend to lean up. So I guess, yeah, you have to have like a tall pole, and then the box wedge, like say it's like 2 feet above the pole, then you have it aimed down at the cutting edge, so that when you're splitting, you'll see the wood. Even if the wood lifts up, it won't block the camera view, and you can see the bottom row like going through the splitter, right? So say the camera's up here, you're looking down here, the wood's going through, the wood lifts up as it gets split, and but then you could still see over top of this, and then you could see down where the cutting edge is, and you could see the wood coming out of the splitter, right? So there's a lot of things that I want to do in the wood yard to make the videos interesting all the time. But to tell you the truth, too, guys, is it's like, okay, yeah, I'm monetized, I'm getting money for my videos, but it's not even worth it, like, for me to do the videos. That's the thing. So all this stuff I like doing for myself, and I like doing this for you guys to make it interesting. So I'm really doing this out of love, and you guys would understand that when you're doing firewood, like, it's out of love, right? It's like, okay, the natural gas or electricity might be cheap, but it's very convenient for you to, like, heat your place, and you just go flip the switch. But how many people don't really want that option so much? They just want to split the wood. They want the smell. They like the exercise that they get out of it, right? It helps them get out of the house. It keeps them healthy, keeps them in shape. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's like I like to make all my videos as intricate as possible, and even bring out more effects, and make it more like a TV production kind of thing. But it's just it doesn't pay for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that, okay, well, I'm here on YouTube, and like, a lot of people think when you're on YouTube and you're making money from YouTube, like, oh, you're getting paid and you're getting money and this and that. Like, well, if you're a giant channel, yes, right? But some channels are a lot easier to do than others, right? So believe it or not, some people have a YouTube channel and don't have a camera, guys. Okay? Like, that's how it goes, you know what I mean? But what I'm doing here, when I do all the time lapse and everything, and there's so much chopping in the video that you have to do, and I started filming in time lapse so that at least I have something that's shorter to play with when I'm editing. I don't have to watch the video in full time to watch what I want to cut out of the time lapse. Like, say, okay, I'm loading some wood and I get a phone call, then naturally I would want to, like, cut that out. So if I'm filming in real time, then I'm watching the video. I have to watch, and try and sort out that 30 or 45 seconds when I'm on the phone, cut that out, right? But if I just film it in 5 times faster, then it makes it a little easier to do that, right? So it's just hard to do the process, but I'm telling you, I like the whole process. I have a sense of art in me, and I like making videos that capture your emotions with the music and with the scenery. That's why I like the drone footage too. Drone footage really adds things. My GoPro is a good camera. It gives nice high definition, right? So yeah, let's go back into the chat here. I like that there's some Canadians in here. Let's see. Yeah, Joseph, going back up to where Joseph said would be great to hang out and fish. Yeah, definitely, man. If I came down, well, see, here's the thing. If I come down to the U.S., am I going to drive down? I mean, to drive to Wisconsin, that's a lot of gas, guys, right? Like, if I do that trip, that's going to probably be like $1,000 worth of fuel. I know the thing is, the fuel is cheaper in the U.S., guys. Okay, that's one thing about that trip. The fuel is cheaper, but, like, I mean, I have a truck, right? So that's the thing, let me see. Yeah, Joseph says, yeah, I love you, bro. Like to do some fishing. Yeah, I love you too, man. Love to come down, bro. Like, there's a lot of good people I'm meeting here, man, and that's how I am too. I'm social. I like to get on the road and go meet people. I like to get on the road and go hang out, go party with people, all those things. Have some beers, have some food. Like, that's real living. That's what we're supposed to do, man. Even when I grew up, like I was talking before, how my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago, right? And what we did when we were growing up, at Christmas time, you went to like 8 different families' houses before, during, and after Christmas. Even if it was like in the New Year, right? You'd still see those people for Christmas, right? So it's that's just part of my upbringing, man, and that's what I'm familiar with it, right? So let's see here. Okay, going down through the chats. Anthony, Back 40 was thinking of doing a live feed for us that wanted to go over the YouTube analytics. I just don't understand it. Yeah, well, you know what, Daniel, you can look at the tutorials, right? They have a lot of tutorials about how everything works, so you can do that. Yeah, if Dan has that, I tend to think that people don't talk too much about the whole background behind the YouTube channels, they do kind of thing, right? There's the business sense where it's like I sense that there's a lot of things that you don't mention, you know. But yeah, but I mean, I've heard Dan talk about some behind the scenes stuff, and people do behind the scenes videos where they're like, okay, look here, here's me on the editing board, or here's my YouTube studio, right? If for those that don't know, when you have your YouTube account, but then you have a YouTube channel, there's you go and you click where it has your little icon, like where your name is, and then it says YouTube Studio, and then you can go in there, and that gives you all the analytics for your video. So it's really giving you tons of numbers, so that you can understand, how well your video is performing, how well it's not performing, and how many likes you got, and what's your like entire ratio of likes to dislikes for your whole channel. Not just seeing that little markup of how many you got on each video kind of thing. It tells you how many people are clicking on your video and what's the rate that people are clicking through on your video and everything. And there's just so many statistics, and so if you get to understand them, then you get to understand like all those analytics. But then you see, even when you understand them too, it's like there's so many variables where it's hard to say, right? And it has some certain things where you can pick and say, well, which videos actually, you can line up which ones are your best, and then it'll tell you. YouTube will actually tell you why those videos are good in a certain sense. You know what I mean? They'll tell you which videos people are watching, like at the beginning, like where they're really glued to it, like what percentage are still watching at the 30% mark into your video and stuff like that, right? So YouTube wants to help you make good videos, okay? There's another thing I wanted to talk about. I got beefs with YouTube, guys, okay? I got beef, man. But anyways, I'll just tell you the principle of how YouTube works. So YouTube wants you to make good videos, and they're going to show you even some comparison to other channels, and they have statistics like that and stuff like that, right? Because they don't want you there making crap. They want you to bust your ass so that you can make good videos, and so that they can put them up there for people to watch, and they get people to watch more YouTube, and then they make money and you make money. So it's in their best interest if they're making or if they're getting you to make good videos, kind of thing, right? That's basically how the process works. So they're not in the dark about it. They're trying to push you so that you can benefit. It's overall how this world works is the big company's going to benefit more than you. But the thing is, people can be on YouTube and benefit so greatly that like it's their whole job, and they have 10, 13, 15 people, 20 people working for them based on their YouTube channel, right? So it's this huge world out there, and they're really promoting you to get people to come on it, because they want to be popular, and that people keep coming there, so then they keep making money. It's like before the new monetization rules, they made it so that I don't know if it was 1 million views you had to get or something like that. But what people were doing was everything was clickbait. Now you have to make things clickbait. You have to trigger people to see your thumbnail and say, oh, what's his thumbnail picture? I want to click on that. I want to watch it. So there's legitimate clickbait, but they got rid of fake clickbait, right? So it's like, okay, if they say, that says you see a shark and a man, it says shark attack, right? And then you click on the video and it's like, together forever and never to part. You see the video clip of Rick Astley in that song, right? Like they cut that out, because it's like, why would you come on YouTube, if you're gonna keep watching stupid things like that? You're gonna be like, I'm watching YouTube, and every video is Rick Astley together forever. I'm getting spoofed. You know what I mean? So yeah, they got rid of that whole thing, right? Okay, the guys getting boiler wood are gonna miss you. Yeah, Daniel, the guy with the boiler wood, he's like overstocked now, because he's bought like 6 bins in the last 3 years. So that's like 36 cords, right? And then when we had that storm in May, we called it May 24, the May 24 weekend, the Victoria Day long weekend, the Queen's holiday, the third Saturday in May, right? We had that big storm on May 21st of this year, that big windstorm that ripped up, is it North Dakota or Nebraska and some other places? But yeah, just in spots here, it just ripped up everything, guys. It was like, and I remember going away to the lake, um, and I was stressed out whether to bring my boat or not because of the rain. Not necessarily the bad weather, but the rain. So I was like, I'm going there Saturday afternoon. I'm coming home Monday. Why should I bring the boat? There's gonna be a boat there. I'm not too crazy about fishing for pickerel, and there's a busier lake too. So it's like whatever. I didn't really care to do that. I just wanted to go up there. But I remember looking at the weather map and not thinking about it. But there's like eight, like there's like the screen's like full of like tornado symbols, all of it. And I don't know why I didn't think about it at the time. Well, I guess it's because I was thinking about if I'm gonna go. I had my truck, I had the boat hooked up on the truck, ready to go, and I said, no, you know what? I'm gonna leave it, right? And I only caught some of the rain when I was in the grocery store, and then I left to go up there, and there was no sign of a storm except that rain while I was in the grocery store, right? So yeah, we had that bad weather, and then the town of Uxbridge, where my boiler customer lives, his that whole area got devastated. Like I know one tree cutter went up there and made like 30 grand in like in 1 week because he was cutting down so much trees. So my customer was like, I called him to get rid of my last load of boiler wood, which I've already done, and the video is going to be coming up in the next little while. But one of my customers who buys my firewood, I told him I got to sell the boiler wood because my customer in Uxbridge, he doesn't want any more boiler wood because he's bought 36 cords in the last 3 years. And I'm guessing he uses like maybe 8 cords in the winter. I'm not sure how many, maybe six, maybe even less, right? But it's not a very big house too, so he probably doesn't use a lot of wood. And I remember his wife saying it's not that efficient, his boiler, and it's in like a little shed outside of the house because his property is so small. He can't have his boiler in the backyard just open. He has it in a shed that's connected to the house, kind of thing, right? And it's not a massive boiler either. But he's got all these down trees there on his property. He doesn't need wood anymore, you know? So, yeah, is he going to miss me? Not for a while anyway, right? But the price has been going up because of the fuel price here. So our diesel is up and it's over $2 a liter. So that's about starting off, if I think $8, I'm going to convert to US. So if it's over $2 a liter and then there's almost 4 liters in a gallon, then you're looking at like the diesel price here, guys, is without US conversion, it's going to be about just like almost $8 per gallon. But then if I change it to US, then $8. So it's probably like about 6.50 per gallon for diesel up here in Toronto, guys. Like the diesel is high here, man. It's I drive diesel, right? You still get the extra kilometers, but it's the fuel price is bad, man. And I haven't been driving all out of town and everything and all over the place like I have, but still, like it still hurts, guys, you know? And then with selling the 40-yard bin, the problem is, like before, okay, so Uxbridge it's about an hour. You got to kind of go through like some side main roads that the speed limit is 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. Our speed limit is on main highways here is 100 kilometers an hour, right? And some of the roads between, you know, like the country roads, the main country roads, then the speed limit will be like 80 kilometers an hour, right? So that's 50 miles an hour, right? In some tighter spots where it's not as safe, they'll make it like 70 kilometers an hour. Nothing really is 90 kilometers an hour. So it's either you're getting 50 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour, like the main highways, right? That's the speed limit here. So you got to do a little bit of driving off the, like in the country here, right? And it takes about an hour to get to Uxbridge from where I am. It's northeast of here. So before I used to deliver that 40-yard bin for like $350 for a delivery, right? And pre-COVID, my driver Larry, the guy who used to take my bin, pre-COVID, he told me it's $500 to go up there, right? So he went from 350 to $500, right? So imagine what they want now. So even the last time I sold the boiler wood, um, oh, that guy did that for, we went, where was that exactly? Was he on Lake Ridge Road? I can't remember, but he was northeast too. All my bins have been going northeast, right? So the guy, like I told you, it's one of my customers who buys the firewood in the bin. He got his buddy to buy the boiler wood off me because the guy in Uxbridge didn't want the bin, right? So I went up there and I dropped that wood for him, and the guy charged me $500, but he said he should have charged more. And this place is further than Uxbridge, so if Uxbridge is $500, then he gave me the wrong price for going maybe 20 minutes further at that time. So then when I delivered my firewood bin now, I got dinged on that one, right? So the guy charged me, it was a different truck I used this time too, a new guy, and he charged me 750 to go out to the other guy. So my customer wanted the firewood. He's further than the Uxbridge guy, and he's further than his buddy that I took the boiler wood to, right? There's him and his buddy are kind of like relatively close to each other. They're pretty close to each other, but not like right close to each other. Just all out the same way kind of thing. And the Uxbridge place is the closest, right? But the guy who bought the firewood, he lives right on a creek, and he's got the trout and salmon coming through. That's pretty cool too, you know. But yeah, so I got dinged on the delivery fee, and I had to take out some of my money from the wood because I charged the customer a certain price. I gave him a quote a long time ago, and he just said whenever you get the bin ready, then let it go. But obviously, a lot's changed in the last, like while with the fuel prices and stuff, and it's been actually a while since he ordered it, you know. So I actually had to pay with some of the wood money for some of the delivery because I had the set price, right? So yeah, it's gonna be tough selling those bins of wood. Actually, that reminds me, I missed the guy's call the other day, who called me about ordering some wood, and there was somebody else who sent me an email, and they're like, "We'll take 24 cords at a time. You just call us, and we'll come and take it." Right? So I never got back to those guys either because I actually did get an order for my bin, but I'm not going to be selling that much wood to that company who will take like 24 cords at a time or whatever, right? Like I don't produce wood that fast enough here. I'm just giving them the stuff that I don't want that takes a while to build up. Meanwhile, the stuff that I want, I'm putting that in the wood yard to season, you know? Okay, Eric Modine says, have a great night. When enjoy watching new content. Don't give up. Please keep us posted. Thanks for your time this evening. Yeah, thanks for coming out, man. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys enjoy my content. It's kind of weird because it's like I feel like I'm not this like great like video maker. I do know I have talent. I do know I picked up a lot of stuff, and I can have a lot of fun doing tactics to make my videos fun, right? But it's just like I'm like, well, why the hell would anybody want to watch me? You know what I mean? So, but I think people see that I'm well rounded. I know my product. I do good customer service. I know about a lot of things, like sometimes I'm splitting with the wood, or I'm splitting with the axe, and I'm talking about World War II history, right? People know I know the splitters in the industry. They know how I know how to identify trees like no problem, right? So I think people see all that stuff, and that kind of what makes my package. It's not that I'm, great in so many areas, but it's just like I cover a lot of bases, and I know what I'm talking about, kind of thing, and I work hard too, right? Oh, we got somebody who's playing around in the chat. Sex 69 for fun. Anybody interested? Yeah, we got some spam. Somebody else spammed something before. No, sorry, Larry and Larry Hoddle. He went and he put like he always does like emojis with like beer or a flag or something, and for some reason they tried to flag his comment, but it's like no, there's nothing wrong with that. But now here's my first actual spam content. So I'm gonna hide. And you know what? How do I make moderator status, man? Daniel, I gotta make you moderator here, man. Let me see. How do I do that? I might have to find that out later, right? But yeah, I'm gonna have to do that, man. I'll eventually need moderators. So Daniel Atkins, you're the #1 moderator, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna figure that out. And like I said, Daniel, you want to learn YouTube, you just go back to YouTube itself and ask how to do certain things, um, yeah, I missed where Eric said earlier, it all comes down to work and how hard you want to work for your time. Yeah, definitely, you got to try and be efficient. And Firewood is the worst thing to work with, guys. Like it's only done because we need it and because we love it, right? That's all it is, man. It's there's nothing more to it than that, right? Um, I've said in other videos, firewood is archaic. It's a way we've been heating ourselves for like thousands of years, and we do it a lot differently now. We just flick the switch and then get to go. DJ Rider 7. I'm just tuning in from Edmonton, Alberta. How you doing, man? Thank you for stepping in. I hope you had a good Christmas and Happy New Year. My experience in Edmonton, I was out there sadly for a funeral. Um, if you remember back, you might have heard of this on the news because it's more than just an accident. It was a tragic story. Um, there was a father and his wife and three children, and the father and two of the children died in a car accident. It was around Jasper, and they were coming back from BC, and they were trying to pass a tractor trailer, and the thing slipped out, or the thing spun out, or whatever, and ended up getting in an accident with another tractor trailer. And that was some family of um, well, there's a whole story behind like why I was out there too. I was close to someone out there, and yeah, that's a whole different story too, right? But anyways, their family. Well, I guess I'll talk about that too anyway, guys. There's something that you guys don't know about me that I haven't talked about much. I haven't talked about it all, right? But I guess I'll mention it here. But anyways, the story out there was yeah, it's someone's family members, and I was here in Toronto, and then we got the call that the uh, the family got in a car accident, and well, let me get into the story, like why I was out there and stuff like that, right? So I had a son who had passed away, and this was in 2015, and his mother was from Calgary, and I met her when she was out here um, in 2013. She came here for school, right? And we we had our son, and he had some issues with his bowels, and he had some complications from surgery. The surgery should have been okay, but then he had complications from surgery, and then he ended up passing, right? But while we were expecting him, this is when his mother got the phone call because she was here working out here, and living with me, and she got the phone call that her cousin her cousin was the wife. So the cousin lost three people in the car accident, right? um, and we had to fly out there. So we went to the funeral and everything, right? And it was sad because they just got, I mean, two children out of the three children. One was a twin and one was the older brother, right? They're all very young, the children too, and they had just like had a nice house built in northwest Edmonton, and it's a very sad story. You know what I mean? And so I was out there for that and had to drive from Calgary to Alberta for the funeral. But yeah, I have some experience out there. I used to be out there a bunch, and we used to stay just east of Calgary, which is a town called Chestermere. It's just outside of city limits. It's a nice little town. They have like a lake, and it's the rolling hills and stuff out there. So it's not quite the Rockies because the Rocky Mountains is west of Calgary, and we're in the east of Calgary. So it's where all the buttes are, where like the prairie starts turning into the rolling hills before it gets into the mountains, right? But even when you get towards Calgary, like you're in a river valley. Like Calgary's literally in there's a Bow River flowing through it, so it's a city that's in like a lower depression because it's alongside the river, right? So it's between kind of the prairies and the Rockies kind of thing, where the prairies and the Rockies meet, you know. And it's just Chestermere is beautiful. Like where I stayed, it's a house where there's a golf course right behind it, and then you got your little shopping complex there, and it's just a beautiful area. I really enjoyed that area kind of thing. It's nice for looks, and overall, like I wouldn't like to live out there. I had the opportunity to go and live out there, but it's pretty quiet, and there's not much going on. The downtown life is, I mean, I'm older now, right? Like when I was young, we used to go and party, and and it's not something that with starting a family and whatnot that I'd be into. But it's just I like where it's more active. I'm not an introvert who's like I'll just stay inside and I don't care about what's going on out there. I like interacting with people. That's part of my culture too. Like where my parents come from. Like people they going using the term liming is like going out and hanging out with everybody. You might not be doing anything. There might not be no music playing, but it's just there's something going on. There might be music. There might be not. It's people are getting together. That's what they do, right? So that's where I come from. So out there, it's just very dead. But like I said, it's beautiful, And I had the opportunity of driving out to Banff, which is a big skiing area here, and what's it called? Lake Louise, right? So it's this, for people that don't know, it's just this lake that's in the middle of the mountains. One of the many lakes that are there, and there's like a huge like hotel, like resort style hotel there, and you can just walk around the path. You can actually go walk up the mountain, so you're looking way down on the lake. But they also have the canoes there, and you can go and canoe out there, right? Let me catch up on the chat. Yeah, Happy New Year, DJ Ryder. Been watching your channel for quite some time, maybe a year. Yeah, thanks. I remember your username. That's for sure, man. Definitely. Dragon TV 420. How you doing? What's up from Saskatchewan? Hey, I love this country, man. We got some great people here. I like the different areas, how we just have these people who are doing their different things in different areas and they're from all over. It's a totally different experience, but we understand what it is to be Canadian. It's the same way US has their patriotism, right? It's like there's a love for people here. And in the US, there's a lot of indifference kind of thing, but it's like it's just there's people know in Canada it's like yeah here I'm heading it up in Saskatchewan where it might be cold as hell like with like Colleen and her channel, right? Colleen's Farm Adventures, and then we're talking to people who are in BC and they're out in the mountains, and then talking to people out in the west, in the east coast, in Nova Scotia and stuff like that, right? And then of course the people who are familiar with me here in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, which is like the shoreline around Lake Ontario from Toronto and the suburbs east of Toronto, the suburbs north of Toronto, and everything around the western end of Lake Ontario down to Niagara Falls, right? So there's Hamilton at the west of Lake Ontario, so it's kind of like the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. But I mean, talking about Toronto and the suburbs that surround it alone, right? That's like the Greater Toronto area, and then so if the GTHA, the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, is also known as the Golden Horseshoe. So it's like a horseshoe formation, like the whole everything that surrounds Lake Ontario, right? Naturally, there's a lake, so there's cities and stuff like that around the edge of the water, kind of thing. It's a main travel route because you got to go around the lake, or you got to cross the border into New York State and Niagara Falls too, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just I like geography too. I like knowing that people are from other places. It's funny because you live in one place and you think that's your world, but then you go to other places, it's just a totally different world. And as much as I've traveled, it's like I still get affected by those factors um, in thought, about how well where I live. This is not just my experience, or this is just my experience. There's plenty of other experiences out there. Even if you want to say North America is the same kind of culture. It's like you go to different places in the U.S., different places in Canada. It's still way different. Or even if you step outside of the things that we know about, the culture, the music, the these practices, the holidays, and this and that. It's like you go to other places in the world. It's just weird. I mean, my green lawn. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. I met you over at in the whole Belt Loop 29 circle and the Dave Collier, or they would, you guys in the US would say Dave Collier, but here because we have our French influence, we would pronounce Collier as Collier, right? So is probably his name probably is originally French from the get go. You know what I mean? But yeah, we produce things more on how they are pronounced if they are French and stuff like that, right? So yeah, how you doing? Happy New Year, and I hope you had a good Christmas. And thanks for stopping into Ontario Firewood Resource for a live stream, right? And that's where I met you too, in a different live stream, right? So yeah, here in my community, it's a lot of the guys are they're it's past their bedtime because it's people who live in the woods who have the early bedtime. It's people who are, you know, you know, in this world, my viewers are usually anywhere from the 40s like me and then up to like the 70s and 80s, and there's even people who are 90 plus that are watching my channel. So yeah, we got people who are used to having an earlier bedtime. So it's not like one of these late night new age kind of things here where you have people in their nights just getting started up at like 11 o'clock or whatever, right? Is that really the time? 12 o'clock in the morning? Holy man. Yeah, because I've been on here like 3 hours. Let me check my battery because my phone could die. No, I still got lots of juice. I got 32 percent, which is okay. It's a trickle. My battery's only draining in a trickle because I have my phone plugged in. But I remember maybe half an hour ago, it was at 42%, something like that, right? Um, yeah, okay. Will Davidson, aka WD30, not WD40, WD30 is in here. And he's saying, how long have you been on? I've been on 2 hours and 45 minutes, man. And you missed some of the main chat, right? Where I was saying, well, I'm thinking about quitting the business. Just to recap that, my neighbor's complaining about me running the machines late. We have a new bylaw that says you can't run small motors after 7. The guy who's complaining lives in his unit, but he's not supposed to live there because it's not a residential space. I don't want to be an a-hole and call and get him to have to move out of there because apparently he's a war vet too, right? But he's upset because he has been tolerant, but he has been complaining about the noise, and my schedule's late, so I don't even feel I shouldn't even feel anything wrong about running my machines because I am there too late, guys. That's very true, right? So I have to be humble myself, and I have to be respectful too, right? I can't say, well, I can do whatever I want, you know what I mean? Even though he's not supposed to be there, I'm not that person who's like, listen, I don't care about you. I'm just gonna do what I do, whatnot, right? Because it's just a bad thing to have problems with the neighbors. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I got back issues. I'm still okay to do wood. The wood, the smoker wood is not selling. And that's where I get a lot of my money. Actually, whoever was here from before, and I talked about the smoker wood, I have a smokehouse who's buying a lot of wood, but it's still not covering all the customers that I've had before because meat's so expensive here. People aren't buying smoker wood, right? If I were to stop selling firewood, I would sell smoker wood from out of the shop. I'd split wood to have my own wood, but I wouldn't be selling like 16-inch firewood. I'd be selling the pellets still, and I'd be using wood for my wood stove at the shop. I'd be using it for when I have fires up north or downtown at the lakefront parks and stuff like that, right? I could still sell kindling, but I love doing this channel for all you guys, for myself and for all you guys. I really love doing this stuff, so that's why I don't want to quit. But you guys see me, I'm a machine, but I don't want to be doing this forever, right? Like I'm not going to be doing firewood when I'm 60 unless, I've got a tractor and I've got like an Easton-made C48 or C60 or whatever, and I'm just sitting in a booth or I'm sitting in a chair and, getting the production done, but probably by then firewood is going to be banned for use, right? So now if, let's say I did quit the business and I moved out, but it's a good time to do it now. I thought about it a week and a half ago because my property where my wood yard is, it's for sale and it's going to be a senior's home, right? That's a proposal for that property. So that's also another reason why I'm thinking about this. I was looking up the zoning issue because I have the beef with that guy who shouldn't be there himself, and I couldn't find out the proper zoning things online. So then I looked up the address of my yard, and then I see it's up for sale on a real estate website. So it's like, okay, well, if it's going to be for sale, I might still be able to do the business there for 3 years, but eventually, like, I'm gonna have to move out of there, and you can't find space here anymore because everything's getting knocked down for condos and buildings and like apartment buildings and stuff like that, right? Like the commercial spaces are just getting eaten up here, guys. Our whole market's going to service; it's not going to manufacturing. So a lot of these industrial areas, they're going into residential condos. Even there's one being built by the Woodyard now. So it's like, okay, well, if you get some trendies who like they don't want me to have fires or something, they're going to be able to see me having a fire from there, and they'll be bothered from the noise. Even if that guy beside me moves out, it's going to be a problem in, like, say, like 2 years when that building's done, and then I'm running the machines or I'm having a fire, and they're going to see me there. So it's like, okay, well, do I just cash out now and then look to make another venture? I want to do another YouTube channel, and I want to get into a field where there's a lot more viewership, because, guys, I'm actually doing well for, like, if I compare myself to the progress of people um, in this realm, it's like I'm doing really good. But like I said, my friend showed me how to do YouTube, so that's why I'm having success here. But it's such a small field, you know. I'm missing some chats here. Um, okay, I'm only missing a couple. Yeah, Daniel said he was only on for about an hour. Daniel, you've been here for maybe an hour and a half, man. At most, anyway. But you've been here for a while. You're a good human, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. You know, I like to have integrity. I like to accommodate people. I like to say where I'm in the wrong too. And also this too. This is, you see, this is where I can change things so that I can operate their property. It's because I do my day job, and I'm not an early person to begin with, right? I used to be like 8:30, 9 o'clock when I started doing my thing, and I graduated to, like, 10 o'clock, 10:30 kind of thing. But I did my routine different. I used to drive around my neighborhood, fill my truck with scrap in 2 hours. I'd have like $300 in the truck, no problem. But I couldn't do that anymore, so I didn't have to be out and on the road in the morning, right? Um, then I get into the firewood business after like 2, 3 years, and I'm tackling my other job, and then I got big into the firewood in 2013. So I'm going on, since I've been really doing it significantly. Like, I've been doing firewood over 12 years, but doing it really significantly was since summer of 2013, right? Excuse me. So okay, I got a wood yard instead of doing wood in front of my shop, and then I started doing a lot of work there, right? And I took on more responsibility, it took more time. And then I started doing, almost 2 years ago. I'm coming up on 2 years on YouTube, guys. So then a couple of years, or sorry, then the last couple of years I've been doing the channel, and I'm up editing videos, and I learned the process, and I'm getting more involved with it, and I'm making the videos more complicated, and then it's just metastasized my whole situation, where I'm trying to do as much wood as I can a lot of the time, right? And then I come home and I edit videos. So I'm actually running on a schedule that's having me go to bed between 4 and 6 a.m. And then, I start my day at, like, say, 11, 12 o'clock, and I do my day stuff in the afternoon. It's not too busy too, but if I was, like, more busier and the phone was ringing, then I'd be up earlier too, right? But it's, guys, it's dead here, man, and that's what's hurting me too. That's what makes, if I'm making a lot of money in my other job, then it's like, okay, I can pay somebody to help me come and split wood. It's kind of hard to have somebody come in the afternoon, evening to split wood, but that's what I would do. I'd be making enough money in my other stuff so that I could pay somebody to split wood, and the wood that I'm splitting, I'm only getting, 5% of that money, maybe 10% of that money, like, instantaneously, right? It's like, okay, you do a service, they give you a check. When you're doing any kind of job or whatever, you might get the check in a week or two if you're like a big company or whatever. They have an account and stuff like that, right? But with the wood, most of the wood, you're not getting the money till the fall, right? Like, if I sell the 40-yard bin with the 6 cords in the summer, then yeah, that's money that I get in the summer. I don't have camper customers. I don't have backyard burner customers. And I live in a city, there's over 3 million people here, and I can't get people to come pick up wood when they're going to Ontario, Campers Haven. Nobody's coming here out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are going up north every weekend. Nobody's really coming to buy wood off me here for that. And even though backyard burning is getting more popular here because it's illegal here, right, in the city, but even though it's getting more popular and more tolerated, I'm not having more customers. I don't have accumulated customers who are backyard burners over the year either. So it's like I'm not selling much wood in the summer. So if I have somebody coming in the spring, summer, fall, and I'm paying them to split wood, if I'm not making money to pay for them, it's like I'm just paying for them, this whole time. Like, let's say I have somebody come in and they split like 4 hours, you know, 4 hours for 4 days a week, right? So okay, that's 16 hours, and let's say if I pay them $20 an hour, right? That's 300 and change. I mean, that's not a lot of hours. They would probably work more, to be honest, right? But I'm just using a figure, right? So if I'm, maybe I sell a couple bags of smoker wood at that time in that week, right? If I'm lucky, I might sell 80, but it's like, okay, I got to shell out, say, $300 to $400, and I'm not getting that money till later. So it's like, okay, let's say I made $80. I paid somebody for 20 hours of work, whatever it is, and I paid them $400. Okay, well, I'm kind of out like $320 for the week. You know what I mean? I'm not up 320. I'm out $320 for the week, right? So it's, yeah, it's hard. I haven't been able to hire anybody, but I haven't been too busy with the wood. But I wish my beast splitter was working last year when the wood yard was full, and I was putting in a lot of hours because I had to keep making room for the wood, right? But yeah, who remembers here my big wood pile, man? Um, Daniel's going. Have a good evening. Hopefully you have a good New Year. Yeah, thanks, you too, man. We'll see you on Friday on Back 40 stream. Might even see you on Brad's channel, Firewood at the Furnace on Thursday. I should be showing up there for that too. So I missed I think I missed two out of the last three ones in the last 3 months. So, but it's all timing, right? Yeah, so yeah, well, so since everything is so, all my wood is sold, even the softwood that's been sitting around, it's almost sold. I have 5 crates of loose wood, softwood, pine, spruce, maybe some juniper and some willow, and I'm gonna sell 2 crates of it tomorrow. So it'd be a great time to sell now. I have 6 crates that I started for next year. They're not all full, but it's basically 6 crates, or they're either full, like 4 of them are full, and 2 of them need a bit more, right? Then I have 3 plus cords on the ground. So I don't have a lot of wood to sell there. And even if I had to say I'm selling it, I'm selling my business, I'm getting rid of my inventory, and the wood is wet, so I have to give you a discount. Well, I don't have much that I would have had to done so much work to get so many cords and then to sell so many cords at a discount rate. I have a small amount of wood that I'm not really going to lose much money over on. So I didn't lose much time and much money by selling that wood, right? So I'm in a state where everything is minimal. I don't have a lot of weight to haul out of there if I have to keep anything. Um, that reminds me, somebody asked me about my conveyor earlier. Um, I think I did mention it though. I said that the conveyors at my shop, I think I started talking about it, but then I got into other stuff too. Anyways, I'll look back at the chat and then I'll just send somebody a message next time about that. But my conveyor is at the shop. I haven't used it at the wood yard and I don't really need it. So it's up for sale, man. And I had people hitting me up in the fall and I didn't get it sold in the fall. And of course, Christmas and winter comes around. And it's like, well, but the main problem too, I had a guy come and look at the conveyor. He brought a trailer and everything, but he's like, he can't fit it on his trailer. And he said he wasn't interested in doing some work to it. Like the conveyor, it was working and everything. I did a lot of sorting out on it, but like it's an older model. But it's like, buddy, you knew this was an older model. This is like an old piece of farm equipment. It's not an ancient one. I had an ancient one before, right? And I kept that thing going. But this is one, it's a common one. It's a Little Giant. It's one that a lot of people have. So he came by and he's like, oh, no, it needs too much work and everything. It's like, I sorted out the bits. It's just, there's one piece of metal where like the part where it's where the hitch is, it's welded on by 2 tabs of flat bar, like 3/4 wide and maybe 3/8 thick, and that little tab just needs to be welded back on so that he can tow it. But you wouldn't want to tow it because, guys, I'm in the city. Most people are coming to buy that. I'd say virtually everybody who'd be interested in that conveyor are coming from out of town, from like an hour, 2, 3 hours drive, and with the people who've been calling me, that's who they've all been far. There's nobody who's like, okay, I'm at this intersection in Toronto and I want to come and get your conveyor. So the bearings to trailer the whole thing as is, like on its own, and just trailer it, I wouldn't trust the tires, I wouldn't trust the bearings kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not for like 3 hour drive, right? So they're gonna have to load it on some type of trailer. And the guy came, like I said, he came with his trailer, and then it didn't work out. He just said, "No, I can't do it, man," and he left, right? So the conveyors there are sitting for sale. Hopefully, I could sell it. I could get, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 for the truck box. I could sell the 40-yard bin, make some money off of it. You know, I could get a couple grand for that. Good thing the prices are high for bins right now. Like my bin needs work, but I'll sell it for more money than I bought it for, right? And then my IBC totes I can sell. It's kind of off and on with those things, right? It's usually you just have people saying, "I need a bunch of them for firewood." They're not calling for anything else for using them for any other purpose. They're calling and saying, "I need a bunch of those for firewood," right? If you saw one of my videos recently, I sold a guy a bunch. Um, I sold him 23 or 24 totes, and I brought them all up in one trip, right? And he was just out of town, and he was using them all for firewood, you know? So that's the thing here. Those things are pretty like exclusive for firewood. People don't really need those for much other things. If they have the bladder in them, then people will use them for different applications, for filling with water or for filling with, you know, whatever they're doing kind of thing, right? So, because I sell totes too, so it's like people do come and buy them. They're doing gardening and stuff like that. Some people need them for their fish if they want to switch around their fish, right? They'll use those tanks to put the fish in while they say clean out their tanks and, you know, their pond or whatever kind of thing, right? And people use them for all kinds of reasons around here. There's a lot of people like the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, slash the Greater Toronto and inclusive Hamilton area. There's probably about 5 million people around here, right? So there's a lot of access. Like I said, we're on Lake Ontario, so it's all the cities or the smaller cities that are beside Toronto. There's some that are above, like more modern cities before you hit like the farm, like they're kind of touching on farmland, but it's like no, it's suburb, right? It's all suburb, you know, right around Toronto, then across on the shore again of Lake Ontario down to Hamilton, which is like the steel town where they used to, you know, do all kinds of steel processing, right? Steel forming and stuff like that, right? Um, uh, Making steel with the ore, right? And then you have not much between like Hamilton and Niagara, right? There's like smaller towns there. You have the Welland Canal, where the cargo ships go from Lake Erie up into Lake Ontario and bypass Niagara Falls. You have the town of Welland. Yeah, there's not much there, but I mean, there's just so many people in this area because it's all along the lake, right? You know, you're up over here and you got to go around the whole Lake Ontario to like go through the border into the US. You know what I mean? Okay, my green lawn, you gotta go. Yeah, you too. Take care, man. Have a good night and happy New Year. Best wishes for the New Year. And Will says, um, yeah, I already read your comment before, but yeah, I'd honestly dip as soon as I could and sell out. Yeah, you're right, man. You know, but it's like the thing with the firewood business is if you really want to quit, it takes like a year, right? If you want to get your money's worth, it takes a year, you know? So it's kind of a debate, but you see, this is what's holding me back too. It's either I just get up early and I do what I gotta do and I can continue the business. Hopefully I don't have the back problems. Um, or I have to get my other venture going. That's the thing, right? And it might be another YouTube channel and it's something that I can really bank on. So I'm considering that, right? So we'll see. I'd like to get that started before I make any moves. You know what I mean? But I have before it gets busy in the spring just to really try and figure that out. So you could say I have 3 months of grace where I can figure out what I'm doing. It's the more I wait at this point with winter here, it's going to be worse for me. But I need that time to take where I have time off where I'm not doing what and I'm actually at home. I can put time into my new venture and I can try and get that ball rolling and have something that's there. Not to say, oh well, look, I cash out now and then, okay, I'm good because that I'm ending something. I'm not starting something. I have to start something in order to end something, right? So I know there's always overlapping of stuff, and there's it's possible to stop doing one thing and start doing something later. Yeah, I understand. That's fine too. That can happen, right? But of course, it's like the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? It's related. It's not quite the same, but it's related. It's like okay, if you have a job, you don't just quit your job and then be like, oh well, I'll just find another job later, right? It's better if you find a job while you have your job, so that you have something to go on because you want to leave your job. You know what I mean? So I feel you on the back problems, lol. I've always had back problems, but they're not that bad. And there's a certain one spot that I'd have, and all I do is bend over, touch my toes, and I'd be fine. I'd be back to normal, right? But I have issues in two separate places. I have up on my left side, and I have like down in the middle, like in the lower area, right? Okay, I'll see you on Thursday and Friday night. Yeah, on Firewood at the Furnace, and then on Back 40 live stream on Friday. I hope you follow what suits you best, man. Yeah, and you know what? It's time for me to relax a little. I love the wood. It's hard work, but I gotta be realistic too. You know what I mean? So, anyways, yeah, take care, man. We'll see you soon. See you in a couple of days. See you in 3 days. Whatever. I guarantee I'll be talking to you this week. Especially at the climax, the end of the year, you'll be around. I'll be around probably, right? So we'll talk to you soon, man. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here in a second, unless anybody's got any questions. Anybody got anything to say? Anybody got any insights? Anybody got any stories to tell? How's everybody's Christmas? What's in store for the new year? What has anybody got come in so far? Um, there was one thing I wanted to mention too. Oh, okay. One last thing that I have to say is YouTube and copyright. So I've been using certain songs, and then YouTube tells me that they're doing a copyright claim against my video. So it's like, what's up with that, man? I'm using stuff that I've heard on YouTube years ago before I have a channel. I'm using stuff that I've already used a number of times in my video. So why am I getting copyright strikes now? So then I'd have to go through the dispute process, right? Which is just a bunch of clicking and a little bit of typing. It doesn't take long, but it just, if I'm up all night editing a video, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I've waited on the thing on my slow computer here to like process the video into an actual file after I've edited it, right? Then I have to upload it, and I have to fill out these things, and I'm also getting these little bugs too that's stopping me from doing what I'm doing. But having the copyright strike, just going to the dispute thing alone, like guys, I have to do so much stuff day to day to keep my business running. I have to go buy gloves. I have to go fill up gas. I have to like, oh well, my truck's leaking something. I have to go get that fixed or whatever. The guy, he didn't fix it properly. I got to take it back. All these little things that I have to do. I mean, even if somebody wants a sticker for me, I have to take the time off to wrap it up and put it in the post office, right? And it's just, I have to do so many things in a day. It's like, okay, well, if I have to do the extra on something, or something's not necessary or whatever, it just takes away from my time, right? So, um, why am I disputing these things where I've used this song and this music before? Why am I having to dispute this now? It's totally unnecessary. So I have to go and tell them that, hey, you guys are wrong. The song that you said I'm using in the video is not even the song that you're talking about, right? I used it once before, and now I use it four in a row, and then you telling me every time that it can't be monetized, so I can't make money off of it, right? So I went and I disputed them. Then it's been fine, and they released the hold on it, and then the money that I should have made for the video, I get it back, right? But then there was one where it told me I can't dispute the thing, right? The copyright claim, and it's like, I've been listening to the song in YouTube videos for like 10 years, right? What do you mean this song is not it's copyright, you know? So I saw one the other day, it told me I can't dispute it, but then I can dispute it. Like I just this morning I went and disputed it, right? So um then it says, okay, well, we've granted you your access to it and it's monetized, but it says escrow. I looked at that word. I don't know the definition. I can't remember it now, but I looked it up before. but it kind of says it's like splitting the money with you and the owner of the song or something like that, right? But it's like silliness. It's like they're just holding me back because even if you get that, it's like, okay, well, do you know that you're going to get the money or not? No, you don't know that. So you have to contemplate. Now, like I said, if I'm up till like the wee hours of the morning editing the video and then I get a copyright claim because uploading it is like the last stage, and then I just have to fill out a description. I already have stuff filled out there, but I have to fill out specifically about the video that I'm doing. I have to add the end screen. I have to schedule the time that it comes out, and I have to make the thumbnail picture, right? So it's like, okay, I'm at the last stage of editing that video. It's the smaller stuff I'm doing now because the editing is a big process too, right? It's like, okay, so now you get a copyright strike. So what do I do? Do I not release the video right now? And the views that I was hoping to get, I'm not getting them because I have to put it off for a day. Do I have to edit the video and put another song in? And that takes time because for whatever reason my editing software is slow, and I'd have to wait like another half an hour for like a 10-minute video for the file to be created again. So I have to go and play with the video and take out that clip of the music. I'd have to find another piece of music, and I don't have tons of copyright music, guys, and I'm trying to make it different for you so that you don't hear the same music all the time. You know what I mean? So it's really tough to try and say, okay, well, I did kind of use this song. I used that song here. I used that song there. This song doesn't really suit this. This song doesn't suit that. So it's like, okay, then I have to go and try and pick out from the few options that I have to actually put music in there to replace what they said was copyright. And then I have to wait for it. So I don't have the time to do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just YouTube's been frustrating lately with these silly copyright claims, right? Like my Nature Walk Tree ID series where I do the individual species. All four of those videos, the one song got flagged. But then when I went to Muskoka and I did the Nature Walk Tree ID and I was walking around the woods, I first used that song. They did give me a copyright claim on it. But like I said, what's funny is they're telling me it's a song that is not the song that I'm using. Now, mind you, what happens in those cases sometimes is what happened with the one last time was somebody took a copyright beat or no copyright beat. They made their own song on it with like lyrics. And then I don't know if that got registered as like a commodity, right? And then, but YouTube's trying to tell me that's my song. No, it's the same beat, yes. But this is not the song with a vocalist on it either, right? So that one, it's like, okay, it's the beats the same. Okay, I kind of get that. But then the other one is, the problem is, it's not even the same song. So then I go and I look up the song because they give me the title. So I go and okay, I search this song and say, what do you mean this is a song? So at first I'm curious because I want to understand how, or, what they're trying to say, or like, what song is this? They tell me I'm using this song. What's the story on this? I have to go search what song that is. So I go and I look it up and it's like, it's not the same song. Now there might be some bars in the music that sound similar to one that I'm using, but outside of that, like it might be 4 bars, might be 8 bars or something. It's not actually the song that I'm using. So then I have to write them and say, this is not my song that you guys made a copyright claim against me. Because obviously it's a bot who's doing it, right? It's not somebody sitting at a desk screening all these music tracks, right? So then I have to go and tell YouTube I'm not using the track that you're telling me. I have to go copy the paste the song there, and then I have to go and put it in the copyright claim thing to show them that it's not the song that they're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's been happening lately, and it's stressful because, like I said, it's at the last minute, guys, and I hate when that happens and I have to deal with it. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there's so much work in these videos, guys, and I wish I could, with the videos that are not Firewood or they're slightly related to Firewood, I wish I could have those videos take off too, and that might be an idea for another channel, but I wouldn't dive deeply into another channel for those videos I have, like the Nature Walk Tree ID videos, even the tree single species videos on their own. I try to keep my channel diverse as much as I was doing Firewood, and sometimes diversity in your channel works, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm keeping related to my topic, which is kind of like nature and the outdoors, right? So what I find is the outdoors channels are really big, but then the firewood channels are not very big at all, you know. And it's funny because the firewood world, there's only three big channels that, or the three biggest channels are 25,000 to 30,000 subscribers. And I mean, in the world of YouTube, you have people that are huge, right? I'm not saying, I mean, that's the people that we know here, the Woodhound community, right? It's guys in our tight circle. I'm not saying that there's nobody in the world who has a firewood channel that's not bigger than the guys here, kind of thing. But I'm just saying, for what we know in North America, the firewood channels are not big, right? Compared to all the other things out there, without even talking about who's huge. Like, if I just compared firewood channels to outdoors channels, right? It's outdoors channels are just way bigger. There's a lot of ones that are huge, but even if you're talking to moderately sized outdoors channels, they're a lot bigger than all the firewood channels. You know what I mean? So, but I am happy with my success because when I compare to other channels, how I've been doing, when I compare to most other channels, I've been doing really well. But overall, it's just a small world. And this is why I want to get into YouTube more, because it's like, okay, I have these skills now and I can apply them to something. So it's like, let's say I'm a professional race car driver, but it's like I'm at the track with a Honda Civic now, and I need to have, and that, say, like, you know, the Honda Civic is the firewood world on YouTube. I need to get into like, I guess it's not the best comparison, but I'm sure you guys get what I'm talking about. I want to be in the track in a Ferrari, you know what I mean, or an F1 car or something, right? And so that would be my channel, you know, and something that does a lot better, right? Because I have the skills, you know. It's same thing like being a race car driver. I have the skills to do like a professional YouTube channel kind of thing. Not the best way, not the best type of content. You know what I mean? There's people who've been training in years, and they've been doing this stuff, but it's like, remember, YouTube is a lot of people that are not professionals too, you know? So um there's a lot of people who've done really well, and even like their channel's big enough where they hire people to make their videos for them, and then they hire people who are professionals too, right? So you do get that, but a lot of people have just built up their skills by being on YouTube and using the editing software themselves. So it's like, basically, I just want to do a channel that has like a bigger viewership, right? I learned something interesting from Mike Morgan and Outdoors with the Morgans. So I thought, you know, okay, United States got 350 million people, or is it 330 or 340, whatever. But it's like, okay, so there must be a tons of people who use firewood for heat, right? So he's been doing a lot of spiels about energy with firewood, with the oil, and he actually used to be in the oil business too, right? So he's been doing a lot of spiels about the, and calculations comparing energy costs and all these things like that. So he was talking about how many people actually um, use firewood in America, and guess what the number was, guys? This broke my heart. Only 1% of people in America use wood for heat, and I was like, that sounds unbelievable, almost, you know. But if that's the figure, that's what it is, right? So um, that's not very many people. So what the whole world is on YouTube is there's tons of people who are looking for how to dry wood, how to cook with wood, bushcraft survival stuff, right? Maybe even how to use a chainsaw, how to identify trees. There's lots of reasons that people are looking up firewood on YouTube, but they're coming and going, right? And then there's the tight knit community, like the Woodhounds, like the people that we all know by name, and all those people, they just they'll watch people splitting wood all the time, right? All those videos get watched all the time. People are just genuinely interested in what people are doing with firewood. So that's like a very small community, right? So that's why I say the firewood world is a small community on YouTube. There's tons of people. Like, it's probably, for every one person that watches firewood videos regularly, I'd say there's at least 10 people who are just stepping into the firewood world to learn about something because it's part of their lifestyle for whatever reason, right? Like a lot of people are getting off the grid now, so they're not becoming like firewood experts or firewood identification and use and producing experts and production experts in firewood. They're not looking to do that. They're just like, okay, I'm going to be burning wood now. I might be cooking with wood. So, like, what's the story? I just want to learn about some of that stuff. You know what I mean? So, who's that? Super Randy Travis. How you doing? Much love from Cayman Islands to a Trini brother. Yeah, Trinis. That's what we call us people. I'm not from Trinidad. I'm born in Canada, right? But my parents are from Trinidad. How's it down there from the Cayman Islands, man? It's nice and well. It's you know what? It's too hot in the Caribbean for me. You know, if it's like 28 degrees and 30 degrees, 32 Celsius, right? Then that's like, yeah, we're not, all the Americans, they know Fahrenheit, right? We do Celsius. So 30 degrees Celsius would be about 88 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So yeah, the tropics, you know what I mean? It's a little too hot in the islands there, man. You know, in Trinidad, it's muggy a lot of the time too. It's humid and stuff. So that just doesn't sit with me. My body is not made for that kind of temperature, you know? Um, I like when it's cooler and drier. That's what I like, man. You know, and especially with splitting firewood. Yeah, it's the hot and humid is no good for me, man. That is not working. But, last time I've been down to Trinidad, I haven't been to the other islands in the Caribbean. Just down to Trinidad because my parents are from there, and the last time I was down there, it was in 2005, and that was when, if you remember AJ from BET television, he got robbed when he was down there because it's a lot of crime that's been happening there. Trinidad has been known to be this really nice country in the West Indies with, people with good standards and everything, but just over the years it's kind of deteriorated and had some other people coming into the country for school and, causing a lot of crime and stuff. And there's been like kidnappings and extortion for ransom and stuff like that, right? And then people that just chop off your arm if you have your arm out of the car and you have a watch, they just chop off your arm with a machete just to get your watch. So it's sad to see some of the things that have happened in the country, right? While I was there in 2005, some people try to kidnap some rich guy's daughter, and then the boyfriend she was with at the time, I mean, she was literally at the site when it happened, and the guy tried to rescue her, and he was holding on to the car while they were driving, and he lost his foot in the incident, right? But that was the last time I was there. I was down there for Carnival, and Carnival is like a huge. It's like when you think of like Brazil Carnival, it's kind of like that, right? And it's a really big thing down there, and it's held in February too. It's held at the same time of year actually, right? It's based on like the whole Mardi Gras and whatnot. So when you guys have your stuff going on there for Mardi Gras in Louisiana, it's Carnival at the same weekend, right? But yeah, big party, man. It's fun there. They just have it right out in the residential streets, like in the main areas, like in town. Like it's kind of between like downtown and one of the suburbs, but it's just all the float trucks with like all the bands and the big speakers on them, and all the revelers dressed up in their carnival costumes. It's just going right through the small streets and like the neighborhoods and stuff. Yeah, they're on the main road a lot and around the park where it's a savannah. They call it the savannah. It's just like a drive around, like a big park. And you have a soccer field and the government buildings around it and stuff, right? But it's like, yeah, a lot of it goes right through the residential street, and it's this big party the whole time. You know what I mean? Let me just refresh on some water here. Anybody got any questions? I'm gonna cut it down in a couple minutes because it's running late. I've been on here for so long, and yeah, I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about. I could talk about a lot of things, but I just want to keep it, bunched in a little bit, not go too crazy here. But Barry Thompson says, "Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, brother. Keep the faith. We will make it fine." Yeah, Barry, you've been here. Well, actually, you got here, what, like a couple hours ago or so? Let me go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So how many people we got in here now? I say, okay, we got 9 people in here. Maybe if we go under 7, then I'll just cut it down. I think Joe's still got um, me running there. He's probably off doing something else, but he probably has a live stream running in the background. He was here for a little bit chatting, but that's what he does. He says, I'll just leave it so you get some watch time, some watch hours, some income, I guess, too, right? That extra cent or whatever, because YouTube is not very generous. But Joe does me a favor. Um, yeah, going back to my beginnings, and I was around for a while, and Joe actually reached out to me and he told me to come on his channel because he does live streams, and he said, come out and I'll mention your name and get you some subscribers, right? I guess he saw what I was doing, and he says, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing and whatnot, right? He seems like a pretty cool guy. He knows his product. He's doing firewood just like me, and you know, I guess I was just up on a level, whereas I just didn't seem like this Mickey Mouse kind of guy, and I looked like I was trying hard, and it looked like I was trying hard with the YouTube. It looked like I was, trying, working hard on my business. So he's like, hey, this is what I figure, this is my guess, right? But I guess he just said, hey, yeah, come on out and help promote you, you know what I mean? But Daniel Atkins, he was one of my viewers from the beginning. He's always been loyal. And you know what? Sometimes I kick myself because I don't stop around to his channel much to watch his videos, right? But I got so much to do all the time. And then Daniel told me to come out to the Back 40 live stream, and that's how I met like the Woodhound community, right? I know I had seen Dan's videos, Dan at Back 40. I know I've seen Back 40 Firewood's videos um, before, but I wasn't familiar with people. You know what I mean? I had seen lots of videos, but to me, it's just there's so many people out there, and then you don't know that. I didn't know Back 40 was like one of the guys who's like has a bigger channel, right? I wasn't looking at all the metrics of what people have and to see how many subscribers they have and who they know and how big they are compared to other people. I wasn't in that mind state back then. But yeah, so I started getting to see everybody and getting to know everybody and figuring out what channels I like and stuff like that, and just understanding the whole process, right? And then now I'll tell you what, guys, it's great to, as somebody's been watching YouTube for like, excuse me, I guess it's 2022 now, so I don't know, say almost 14 years I've been watching YouTube, and it's like, okay, there's so many channels, so many people doing things out there, and I kind of lost my train of thought what I was saying, but yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. But it's just weird, this whole world of people out there here, they're like doing their own thing. You know what I mean? They're putting up all their videos here, and you get to interact with people. It's pretty cool. And just meeting people who live all over the country, right? And living all over Canada, living all over United States, right? And it's very interesting, and I'd love to take a road trip and come and meet a lot of you guys out there. So hopefully one day, some of you guys aren't too far, but most of you are probably about 5-6 hours away. I guess the closest person to me would be that Wood guy, and would be TC's Outdoors. They're both like outside of like Rochester area, so they're probably about 4 hours away from me, right? Um, who else is around here? There's not many people. I mean, Pennsylvania, kind of. Like, say I leave Niagara and then I go south, then I'll be hitting into Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is kind of, if I'm heading south, it's to my left and it's to my right. There's so much of Pennsylvania that I can see. But that's a few hours to start with. And I know Shibe's kind of like in the central Pennsylvania area kind of thing. And I know Chuck from Iron Oak Sawmill. He's not too far from Shibe. Is it like maybe an hour or so? Maybe more? I can't remember. But I've been looking at where people are on the map to see where everybody is. Because I used to travel down to the States with my family when we were young, so we started to get to know. I used to look at the map when we used to drive around, you know what I mean? And we did like different routes too, but in terms of the people that I know in Firewood, in the Midwest, I have gone through Detroit to go through Indiana, like under Lake Michigan and past Chicago, and going out west towards Vancouver, BC. So I've done that kind of route west, and then we've been down to Florida. So that's coming. We actually have to go to Detroit, Windsor, and go south from there. But then we used to go to the East Coast mostly, and Boston, New York, Baltimore. A lot of that area we used to travel to because there's all kinds of family that we have there on my mom's and my dad's side, right? So we'd have to go through Niagara Falls and we'd actually stop in Rochester on the way out there because my mom's cousin is out there. So we'd have to drive through there. So we did drive through like not right through the middle where a lot of people are. Like say like okay, so if we leave from Detroit or the west coast or the east coast, there's a lot that's in the middle of those two areas which I haven't gone through, right? So say like in Virginia, you know where Larry and Robin Huddle are, where Shibe and Chuck from Iron Oak Sawmill, like they're kind of in that area of Pennsylvania, which would be, you know, between the East Coast and between like that south line from Detroit, right? So I haven't passed through that middle section through there, you know. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of people that I know where they are and I've kind of passed by them, you know what I mean? And even if it's like maybe 2 hours off track, you know, but there's a lot of people that I've passed by that are closer. So it's to me that's interesting. It's like when you get to know you meet people and then you may have driven by their house like half an hour off the route from them or maybe driven right by their neighborhood or something, right? It to me those kind of things are interesting, you know? After like 3.5 hours of talking you start getting dry mouth, right? I'm not doing too bad anyway. But yeah, it's driving to the U.S. Where I guess it's till like the early '90s. That's when we stopped really going. You know what I mean? And yeah, driving down to Florida, it was like 3.5 days. Cause you like say like okay, we had like Aerostar van with the fold down seats, and we were like me and my sisters we were young, right? So like okay, um, you know them and my mom, like my dad would do all the driving, and when I got older, when I got like 16, I was doing driving. But yeah, we could just sleep in this with the seats folded down, and you know we'd stay in the van one night, and then the next night we stay in a hotel, and then the next night we stay in the van again, and then we go and then we get to our destination. It was the same thing when we went to BC too, right? Just alternate each night between the van and the motel or whatever it is, you know. So, oh Joseph, you're still here. Yeah, gotta go. Okay, take care, man. Yeah, happy New Year. And I'll talk to you soon, bro. Like I said, I'd like to get out there, man. I probably have to fly out there, you know. But yeah, you hitting the snowmobile trail. Nice. Going sledding. That's kind of like an old school term here with the old school cats use here. Sledding, you know. Anyways, yeah, take care, man. Good luck with the new year to the family, and we'll chat soon, bro. Um, DJ Ryder says I follow the Earth and Bloom channel. Have I heard about that? I think I have. That sounds kind of familiar. He's Canadian, not very big, but he does firewood is on the shores of Lake Ontario. Okay, Earth and Bloom. I'll have to look it up. It's kind of ringing a bell, but it's kind of not. There's just so many people out there that I gotta. It's and my memory's not as good as it used to be, right? So it's hard to talk, man. Yeah, man. Take care, Joseph. Joseph is another long time watcher of this channel for a very long time now. So yeah, I'm coming up on 2 years, bro. So I'm gonna have my 2 year celebration, and I'm gonna have my reflection of 2022 videos. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make those tandem. Maybe I should because the new year and January 12th, which is when I started my channel, they're 12 days apart. So maybe I should just make one long video altogether, maybe half an hour. Anyways, yeah, we'll see you soon, bro. Thanks for stopping out, man. Um, what else? Firewood. Let's just okay. I'll talk about one more topic, I guess, because we're getting low here. We are at the 8 level. If we might get to 7 viewers, but I'm gonna keep going, guys, and like egg me on if you need to. Keep me going. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me see how much battery I got here. That's really the judging factor here. So I got 20%. I still got a lot of time, but I'm not gonna stay up all night either, right? I'm actually back to work tomorrow, in Canada. We have 2 days off here for the holidays, right? So, because Christmas was on a Sunday, right? They give us an extra holiday for that. So they don't count Sunday as being a day off. They're going to give us a holiday for that. Then we have Boxing Day here, which is another holiday. So Christmas for us is a two day holiday. Okay. So because Christmas was Sunday, then we had Monday and Tuesday off, right? Like the scrap yard's closed. I have scrap in my truck. I couldn't take it into the scrap yard. And yeah, everything's like kind of shut down, but the stores are open because Boxing Day is like big shopping. It's not this Boxing Day shopping, which it used to be. It's like Boxing Week shopping right now. I actually got to get new boots tomorrow, so I'm gonna cash out that scrap and go get me some new boots because my boots they're still intact, but the laces they get all frayed up and everything. That's the thing. The laces are really cheap, and they've been busting, and I've been tying them in certain places, right? And like I said earlier, guys, I'm always going to go fix something and do something. So for me, I know it doesn't sound like a burden to go into the store and buy some laces and then to go lace the boots up, but it's just I do that stuff all the time, and I'm just tired of having to keep on the ball to just do like like a dozen little knickknacks in the day that are not actually working. Then at my business, I have to do like all these knickknacks, and I have to be here. I have to do email. I have to do phone calls. I have to do text messages. I actually have to go and work. I have to do this. I have to do this with the firewood. I have to get this sorted out before I actually go to the wood yard, or I just have so many little tasks that I have to do that they add up, guys. So it's just I'm doing so much. You know what I mean? But anyways, I gotta buy some new boots, and I actually get every other pair of boots I get for free. So the store that we have here is called Mark's Work Warehouse. Well, it's just called Mark's now, right? Because everybody's shortening their name. So you buy the boots, and they'll be about 170 bucks. I don't know if they raise the prices here, like inflation, but you buy the boots, and then there's a 100-day warranty on them, right? So what I do is I just bring my boots that I had from before, that I was wearing before that are worn out. I bring those back within the 100 days with my receipt, and then they'll give me a new set of boots, right? So I know this girl who used to work at the Marks, and she told me, oh well, because yeah, she said she works there, so well, yeah, come buy boots by my store, and then you can just like return them, and then they'll give you a free set of boots, right? She says people literally rent boots here. They just keep buying boots, and then they bring in their old boots, and then they get a new set of boots. So I do that. The boots that I have, they they actually last very long. Like the Walmart boots would last me 3 or 4 months, and these boots that I get, they'll last me like over a year and a half, right? So they're pretty good. But the only problems I have is every once in a blue moon I'll nick them with the chainsaw, and that kind of gives them like a little premature death. And it's mainly the flap that goes over the laces because they're like welder's boots. That's why my boots have the big flap, right? So really, it's they look good for one thing, but I really get them because it's my money well spent. You know what I mean? You gotta have boots when you're climbing over the wood piles, and you're lifting all these heavy things and everything, right? There's so much involved with using the boots that they just take a lot of abuse. Even contorting your feet by walking over wood piles and digging wood out and stuff like that, right? That's just you're just torquing the boots in ways that it just loosens them up, it ruptures things, and it wants to bust rivets, and it wants to bust stitching and stuff like that. So I can say they are really good boots. Anything else? Yeah, I'm seeing where it's gone down to 7 people in here, but then it goes back up to 9. I don't know if it just glitches and the system says that people aren't here for a half a second and says they're back. But anyways, yeah, man. I don't know what else to talk about, guys. It's been so long. I don't really have to talk about anything more. But yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it quits, man. Unless anybody got some last requests, you know. So yeah, what's in store for tomorrow? So I do the boots, I do the scrap. I'm not gonna do wood tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe it depends. I gotta get. You know what? I should go in there and get prepped because James Bainton's coming by with the Easton Made splitter. So I should go. I have a bunch of sugar maple that I gotta cut up there. And what's the temperature? I can't even look at the weather right now because I got this program running. I could look at it on the laptop, but let me see on. Actually, I got my computer open here too. Let's see the weather tomorrow because I think it's gonna be over freezing tomorrow. Um, the Weather Network. When's the last time I even searched on the computer? Because I usually just use my smartphone now, right? Um, oh, I can't use it now because I got the internet plugged into the laptop. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother now, but it's gonna be like the weather's gonna be okay tomorrow. Um, what else do I gotta do? Yeah, just taking that scrap. I got a couple things to prepare to go to the scrap yard tomorrow, so I could probably go in and go into the wood yard. I gotta bring some bags back to the shop, some empty bags for the smoker wood. And I if I'm at the wood yard, then I have to prepare the wood for when James Bainton comes by because he's got the Easton made 37D, the diesel splitter. So I gotta have enough wood to split there. Like I got a pile there, but it's gonna be like um, that pile will probably be done in like 15 minutes with that splitter. It's gonna be so fast. You know what I mean? So I should have as much wood as I can available for him to split and really make a show out of it, right? And let's say we spend like a couple hours in the wood yard, maybe at most. That's all we need to do to get some good footage and get all that wood split and maybe sit around and reason for a minute, stuff like that, right? So yeah. Hmm. And then we got Thursday. It's supposed to rain as well. I should check the weather. Let me check the weather here, guys. That reminds me, I have to get back to someone else about YouTube because I was talking to somebody else about their channel here, and I'm supposed to connect with them. And a guy came by my shop today for barrels, and he says he has a channel about diving, and he's using the barrels for like I think it's for preparation for that or something, or is it like the ice when you just chill in the barrel with the ice or something like that? I think that's what he was using it for. But anyway, so he comes by the shop to buy the barrels, and then he says, I said to him, look, you're standing right beside this truck. My neighbor has a truck there that he's selling, and it used to be for the Toronto divers, or sorry, the Navy, the Canadian Navy divers, right? Okay, I'm just looking up the weather here. Toronto. Oh, don't do that. Um, oh, I just went out of the chat too. I can't see the chat. I'm gonna have to go right back, but I'm just gonna look at the weather quickly and then go back. I'm not getting much people in the chat right now anyway. Everybody's kind of going to bed, but there's still 9 or 10 people here. Okay, just give me the weather. I'm clicking on it, man. Currently -4 or just under freezing. Loading, loading, loading. Okay, no, it's 0 right now. So it's right at freezing mark, guys. 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, it's gonna be nice today. Is it? What is today's date? Today's Tuesday or when? Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh shoot. I thought it was Tuesday, guys. That sucks, man. Okay, well, what is the weather here? And when's the rain starting? Thursday's gonna be okay. Let's look at hourly. That's what I gotta look at. See what time the rain starts on Friday. Okay, hourly. Yeah, the web is different from the app, the way the layout is. Okay, I want to see like, okay, maybe I have to click on here. No, no, that's not for that. Okay, next. Yeah, I gotta click the next button. Oh no, it's Wednesday now? Yeah, it is Wednesday. It's just Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? It's not Thursday yet. So, okay. Tomorrow's okay. It's just over freezing. It's going to be a nice day. And then Thursday's going to be a good day. We're not going to have to worry about any cold weather. But I still want to know when the rain is coming on Friday. So let's see if it marks the rain. If I can go all the way the 48 hours till. Yeah, okay, so Friday it starts raining in the morning. Okay, all right. So hopefully the storm pushes off for a bit, or the rain ditches off for a bit, and then I can get some work done on Friday. But yeah, I'm gonna get James Bainton to come by with the Easton made D37. Excuse me, on Thursday. That's how we're gonna do it, and we're gonna clean up that seam, guys. Clean that wood right up, man. Get everything split and put away. And I haven't been able to get more diverse species. I have some sugar maple that I can get done that I can mix into my crates now, and that wood's gonna dry quick too. So all those crates that I have, there's about 6 crates in the back. No, there's 8 crates back there that have wood now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 4 stacked on top of those 4. So I got 4 crates to finish off. I'll use some of that sugar maple and black locust to finish off. I've already been putting in a lot of black locust, and some of them might even have some sugar maple from before. I'd have to think about that, but there probably is some, because I have been getting some sugar maple in. I've been getting like 4 species of wood in, guys, the whole time. So it's been black locust, sugar maple. You could call it 5 species, because I've been getting in red oak and white oak and honey locust. So yeah, basically like 5 species, guys. And I haven't been able to mix up my wood. You know what I mean? And now it's pretty much the end of the season. I'm just trying to think, maybe I can go pick up some wood at the tree service tomorrow. I'll see if they're open, and then I have to do some cutting, because I have a lot of smoker wood that I got to produce, guys, because my customer wants so much smoker wood. I've actually been processing smoker wood in my shop, putting them on above my wood stove so that they can dry out, getting enough elevation so it's not right near the heat. But I just been piling up smoker wood chunks there. I have a shelf, or like a mesh, a wire mesh shelving unit in the shop. I've been putting smoker wood on there to dry it out, because this customer, he used to buy 6 bags every month of smoker wood for me. Now he's buying 8 bags every 2 weeks, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he calls me this week and says he needs more, right? So I have some ready from now. I have like 8 bags ready there. I probably have another 8 bags in the shop drying, and then I'm just gonna keep drying wood in the shop with the wood stove to produce for him, and then I have a full crate of smoker wood, of sugar maple out in the wood yard right now. So because it's cold in January and February, that's probably going to help that wood dry. And because the wood actually dries when the air is dry and it's like sub-zero temperatures, right? The water will actually like, uh, I don't know if you call it evaporate. Well, I guess it is evaporation. You wouldn't think you get evaporation when it's cold, but the moisture is lost in the winter, right? So you could have wood that's, say, like, I mean, the trees don't have that much water when they're cut in the winter, but let's say I had a piece of wood that did have a lot of water, and you saved it till the winter, and you didn't lose any water somehow, which, however that's possible. Let's say you save that till the winter, and then as soon as it got, like, um, a number of degrees under freezing, and you just left it out in that cold, you'd actually see the wood start to shrink, and you'd see it crack open because the moisture still evaporates out of the wood at that time, right? So I can still have that crate with the smoker wood drying while I'm bringing stuff into my shop, but I just have so much smoker wood that I got to cut up in the wood yard, and then I got to bring over to the shop that I can dry out, right? And I should be doing as much as that as possible because, like, especially over winter, I'm not going to have much supply coming in. You know what I mean? It's going to be too cold for me to split wood. It's going to be too cold for the tree cutters to be out there cutting trees down. And so I really have to take that whole supply that I have there and try and make as much smoker wood as possible. And then there's another load of sugar maple that's right near where I live, and it's a lot of rotten stuff. It looks like it's going to be a lot of boiler wood, but I got to get that picked up and then brought to the yard. And then it's funny because there's so much rot in it that I'll have to like noodle all the blocks and take out the whatever wood is good and use that for smoker wood too, right? So that's a lot to do before James is coming by with the Easton made tomorrow, or the day after, sorry. So maybe I can just at least prep all the wood that I have there in the yard, and then it's probably a better idea for me to go to the tree service and get some wood from there because I can get that cut up, and anything that James will split, I'll get my diverse species if I go there sometimes. Nothing's guaranteed, but maybe I can get some more wood that James will split because what I have in the wood yard right now is mostly 14 and 12 inch, which is kind of like the undesirable wood. And then I have that sugar maple, which, like I said, I'm going to try and make as much smoker wood as I can. And there's really not much stuff that I can make 16-inch out of that pile too, right? That's the thing. It's a lot of stuff is not cut that great, and then a lot of it was, well, I didn't really take what was rotten there, but then I started to take stuff that's going to be boiler wood too. So even if I cut it down, I mean, I could use a saw to cut it into smoker wood, but I mean, the pieces as is, usually they would just be boiler wood because there are this all the naughty, gnarly pieces and stuff like that. I take the straight smoker wood or the straight wood, I'd cut it into coins and I make smoker wood, and I chop it up with the axe. But if I really needed smoker wood, I could take what is boiler wood and I can cut individual pieces of smoker wood out of those knotty pieces, right? But what I'm doing when on which day, that just depends on my inventory and what I need. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens for tomorrow. I don't have much to do in the morning, so I can go to the tree service company and I can try and get some more wood. We'll see what they have, but who knows? Maybe they're closed over the holidays too, guys. That's the thing, right? Because if they're having a 3-day work week now because it's raining on Friday, that might be considered to them a 2-day work week. Maybe they won't do it. Maybe they won't open, right? So we'll see. But anyways, guys, I want to call it quits now, I guess. Did somebody just come in now? Let me go back to the chat here, and because I went back from the weather and I got to open this up again. I don't want to miss anybody here, I mean? I like connecting with you guys and stuff, right? Somebody just took off. But, yeah, man, I'm surprised I still have 9. I thought I'd have maybe 5 here. Like I said, there's maybe 1 or 2 people just leaving their computer on or whatever. But no, I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, okay. Yeah, DJ Ryder says call it, bud. Yeah, I'm running out of stuff to talk about anyway. You know what I mean? Enjoyed your chat. I'll keep following you. Maybe I'll see you on one of the other guys' live streams in the next few days. Yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot for coming out, man. I do remember your username. It's hard to keep track of so many people in here, right? Um, especially when you don't know their faces, But yeah, I enjoy meeting everybody and seeing what walks of life they come from, and you just chatting about some things that you relate to. But it's pretty cool knowing the other things that people know about, right? And the other things that people are into. So yeah, we'll call it quits, man, and let's see what happens for the rest of the year. Maybe something interesting happens this week, and I have something to add to the year in the review. We'll see what 2023 brings for me, and whether it's a lot easier in the wood business, or if I'm getting out of the wood business and just doing wood for personal, or if I'm just doing smoker wood at the shop only. That'll make my life easier, but I want to do this channel, guys. If I want to do this channel more, then I want to do firewood, if that makes any sense, right? But I need the two. That's the thing. So, oh well. We'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming and watching. Thanks to the super chatters out there. I may have missed mentioning one of the super chatters out there, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes, right? Sorry for if I missed out anybody and what they had to say in the super chats. But yeah, thanks for coming out, everybody. This has been my longest live ever, almost on 4 hours. It's been fun. So happy New Year and best of wishes. Cheers.